Whoa! Yep, where is little boy Blue? Where is he? Hey, little boy Blue, if you read all the comments, everybody liked having you around. And and I made you a moderator too, so that people can't hide you. I think your jokes are funny. All right, so if you're out there now, you can say whatever the hell you want, but don't get nuts. Well, I forgot to shave today, so now my face is like stuff all over it. Hey, how's it going? Yeah. So I was actually going to go back over you guys remember Walter Hibbert, right? From the 1939, that wacko. A woman named Paulette, and I guess she's working with somebody named Lori. They keep sending me, and I think somebody else did too. They send me other things that they can find because they were just as intrigued as I was. Yeah, I covered him on this channel. We were just kind of looking around, and then we started looking into him. We were looking at Google Maps, or not Google, jeez, what am I talking about? Newspapers.com, and it's just a crazy, crazy story, really. I mean, it's wild. So I'll wait a minute for people to show up. Yes, good welcome. And yes, I saw the channels slamming me in the ground. I did talk to Greeno after his show, so we're not. I don't have any ill will towards Greeno. The thing is, his girlfriend said a lot of stuff that wasn't accurate, though, because she was on the show with him, like a co-host. She said a lot of inaccurate things, but I guess love will make you say weird things, I guess. Yeah, one of the things she said was that I didn't talk to Greeno about somebody, like right now, for example, when he's doing his show on WKAT, after his channel got a strike and couldn't do live shows, it's against YouTube's community guidelines to circumvent that punishment by then streaming your same channel on another channel. Okay, so that's what I sent him in a Facebook message. I let him know. I said, hey, you got to be worried about this. But he didn't respond. So then I did put it in his chat. Blue seems like he really wants to go outside, so he's actually running up to me and going like this. So I'll be back here in a second. But yeah, I mean, I let him know in the chat one time, and apparently that was, rude or something. But he wasn't responding, and it's very important because you don't want, if you get other strikes, they can just take your entire channel away from you. All right, so hold on a second. I gotta let Blue out. Yeah, so Blue's outside right now, all right? Yeah. Wow, he was really, you should have seen Blue. He was just running up and jumping in the air and slapping my leg, saying, hey, let me out. Yeah. And I do compliment Greeno's videos that he makes on, when he walks down by the creek and he shows everybody the landscape, that kind of stuff. I've always told him I just don't like the sensationalistic part where he's like, hey, and all the banging and booming and the fake voices and weird stuff like that. It sort of adds a level of disrespect to a serious topic. Okay, I mean, I don't know. Maybe do that on the when you do your ghost hunting, that kind of thing. But that's just kind of stuff I was saying. But man, they were just trashing me. And then Harvey Carroll, you remember what I told you guys about the What was it? Oh yeah, the satellite image that we got. I told you, watch, and he made a whole video about how I don't know how to do it, and he's got Russian satellites that he's working with, and he's way ahead of us, everybody. We're like worlds behind that guy. It's hilarious. But anyways, that's it. So you guys remember this, right? A lot of you remember this Walter R. Hibbert, 1939. It's just a really disturbing story on all levels. It's really pretty bizarre. So I'm gonna, let's see, is this the one? Yeah, like this is probably a good one just to start with right here. So what's really weird is when I was looking up these articles, you'll see something like Hitler invades Bohemia. I mean, so that's the kind of shit that was going on at the time of this incident in Massachusetts. So look at this. Beheads bride of 8 days and confesses. The bride's bouquet this is written, it's like a story instead of just reporting. Right? Oh, and guess what? I have to go let Blue back in. And now he's scraping the door. God, Blue, man. Jesus, what a show killer. Okay, there he goes. He's back in. So I might do there might even be more updates in the future on this one. But anyways, let's go through and Blue, if you could sit still for 2 seconds. I can't take his necklace off or whatever, collar off, because of what happened a couple weeks ago when he disappeared. And literally we would have never found him again, except Chris just happened to be driving home at that exact moment. He followed the car back into the street. All right. Oh, thanks, Goldie Khan. Yeah, right. Just let me do the damn show, Blue. Okay, the bride's bouquet lay fresh in the refrigerator, and the bride lay dead, her head in the wash basin, her body in the bathtub. And that was how the honeymoon ended when Walter Robinson Hibberd, 20, killed his wife of 8 days and mutilated her in a crime described by authorities as perhaps the most revolting in New England's history. And New England had been around for a while at that point.
Just let me do the damn show, Blue.
All right. Hibberd confessed today he walked up to a policeman in Brattleboro, Vermont, I think. Let's see. Whether he fled by train after beheading his bride and said, or I don't know if it says maybe it's Vermont and it says whither. I don't know. I don't even know what word that is. Whither he fled by train after beheading his bride and said, "I killed my wife in Springfield." Police here were notified and they broke into the honeymoon cottage occupied only since Thursday. They found Carolyn Hibberd, 18, dismembered and hacked. The weapon lay in the bathroom. It was a Boy Scout hunting knife. Tonight, Hibberd was back here while police... It's kind of hard to see what I'm reading here. Police probed into the fantasies of a topsy-turvy mind. Already under the treatment of a psychiatrist, Hibberd said it was an urge to kill that made him a murderer. I had wanted to kill somebody for a few years, he related. When I saw her in bed last night, I decided she would be the one. Tonight, his urge satisfied, Hibberd was a frightened, cowering youth. The legs that had executed many a jitterbug. It's hard to read this stuff. Police showed him the bride bouquet and a pink rose circled by white buds, and he wept. He would not look upon the bride and what he had done to her. So basically, in other articles that we'd read that one night, she was laying on bed and asked for a glass of water. And, being the great husband he was, he, instead of bringing a glass of water, he brought a knife back and then stabbed her in the chest a whole bunch of times. Or I think it was like 8 times. And he dragged her to the, took her over to the sink and cut her head off and left the head in the sink. And then what any good husband would do, he then put the body in the bathtub and chopped her up into about, a whole bunch of pieces. Because, he wanted to see what it felt like. That's what he's always thought to himself. I've always wanted to see what it would be like to kill somebody, and hey, why not my wife? What an idiot. So this is what he said right here. I stabbed her several times. She cried a little. Now watch, somebody will take that out of context. You see what Gray said? He said any good husband would. They won't put in that it was a sarcastic comment. I almost feel like you got to put that out there as a disclaimer. Okay, everybody, that was sarcastic. If you don't get my humor, I'm sorry, but that was a sarcastic statement. I stabbed her several times. She cried a little. Blood got on him, and let's see, got on the bed, and I picked her up and dragged her into the bathroom. I took her dressing gown off. The knife was new and sharp, but I had to work hard to do what I did. What he did was to shear the pretty dark-haired head from her body and let it topple into the wash basin. And he lugged the headless body to the tub, and he let the water run into it. And with swift strokes of the blade, he dismembered the body. Police looked upon the shambles, said it was apparent the youth intended to dispose of the body piece by piece, but he became frightened midway in his work and fled from the honeymoon house. He boarded a train for Montreal. While he was in flight, the enormity of his crime pricked his conscience, and he got off the train, and in the middle of the night, when a stop was made at Battleboro, 60 miles from here, he walked through the dark streets of the hill city and came upon a patrolman, Angus J. McKinnon. He told the officer what he had done. And, he returned willingly. Police held him overnight, meanwhile, calling Springfield authorities. He did not sleep. He just talked about the urge. Today, Springfield officers went to Battleboro with a warrant charging murder. Hibberd did not fight extradition. He returned willingly when police promised he would have to look upon his bride. So they said, you're going to need to look at her. Yes, I'm so mean, Lanky Tor. I'm so mean.
Gray is always mean. Rolling eyes, face with rolling eyes.
Police seeking a pattern to fit the crime looked for a blonde girl, friend of Hibberd. They thought, so that's weird. They were looking for a pattern. So that means they were even looking for, was he a serial killer back then? That was 1939. They just didn't call it that. They thought there was a possibility someone else might have known about this rare sex crime. I bet it really wasn't that rare. Mrs. Charles H. Miller, superintendent of the apartment house where the murder occurred, said she saw Hibbert at 8 o'clock. One thing that's interesting is where he lived, that building's gone. It's literally, it was right here on the, if you type it in Google Earth, there's a square right there. And you go to Street View, and, they probably just wiped that. Look at that. Just looks totally out of place, too. Oh, wow. Building. Oh, and then nothing. It's almost like they just went, you know what, Jesus. If something like this happens in this building, we're taking this sucker down. So anyway, this guy's an absolute barbarian. Now, the thing is people have been doing a ton of research, and then even they would send me stuff, and then I'd look up things to try to find another angle, and then that worked too. So let me go get the folder open real quick. Yeah, so I mean, you can see, look at all these different files we have just associated with it. All right, so these are things that documents were sent to me, like this one. This one was amazing. So the thing is he was committed to a mental hospital right after this happened. And you can see it right here, but look what he was diagnosed with right here. I mean, I didn't even know this word existed back then, but look at it. Psychosis with psychopathic personality. I didn't know they had the word psychopathic was even part of the lexicon back in 1939. Did you? I mean, that seems pretty early to have that word, but they actually said, hey, this guy's a psychopath back then. Let me see if I can find that other article. There's that one. Yeah, here it is. So this is one that somebody else found, and it was the girl I mentioned earlier. Now look at this. In the same district court where 10 days ago legal barriers removed to permit his speedy wedding, so he tried to get a wedding really quick, Walter R. Hibbert, 20, pleaded innocent today to a charge of murdering his pretty bride of a week. Meanwhile, the mutilated body of his 18-year-old girl wife, Carolyn Harvey Hibberd, was taken to... I can't read there was probably some text under there. Body was discovered early Saturday in the bathtub. Their cozy apartment after Hibberd walked into the Brattleboro. God, I can't read it's so crappy and fuzzy. Can you guys even make that out at all? I think it's like Brattleboro, Vermont Police, but I think it's supposed to be Battleboro, but it has an R in there. And he told police he had murdered his wife because of an urge to kill, so that he would wed the girl. Hibberd appeared before the court just 10 days ago and obtained a waiver of the 5-day law to permit his immediate marriage to Carolyn Harvey. He came back today, appearing somewhat dazed, to answer the charge of her murder. His innocence plea was entered through counsel. So down here there's some newer... Hibberd was held without bail, and his case was continued until November 16th. As in all capital cases, he will be given a mental examination before his next court appearance. Hibberd spent the hours preceding the call to court in a trance-like silence, contrasting with the violent sobbing which Deputy Police Chief John P. Fleming said accompanied an assertion that we were madly in love with each other. We were madly in love, and he's sobbing, but he just had an urge to kill, so he killed her? Yeah, it sounds like you really loved him a lot, or her a lot. Throughout Sunday, probably meant to say respected young man. It says is bespected a word? Because that's what it says here. I mean, I don't know. I know respected is, but there's a B there. B-E, It was probably a lot harder to make corrections back then, 1939. Let's see. Asserting Hibberd's brain must have snapped. See, here we go. This is where we start getting into the psychological part. Asserting Hibberd's brain must have snapped temporarily. Fleming rejected as definitely not true. That's probably the DA. Police said that 7 years... here's the part of this. This is the main part of this little clip that actually makes you go, whoa. Listen to this. It says, police said that 7 years ago, Hibberd assaulted a sister with a claw hammer. So when Hibberd was 13 years old, he assaulted her with a claw hammer. There was no prosecution, and after examination, Boston brain specialists were reported to have said that the incident... Oh yeah, and there's another page, and that one can't be located. But it shows that he had a, propensity. I mean, he had psychopathic tendencies at 13 years old. He took a hammer, a claw hammer, and attacked his sister with it. I don't know if she survived or what happened there. There was no more. It continued on another page, and we don't have that page. I'm just happy to at least have gotten that part of the information. Okay. And so here's some articles that I found related to the same thing. Accused slayer of bride to go under observation. And this is February 20th. Commitment of Walter R. Hibbert of this city to the state hospital at Bridgewater for 30 days of observation was ordered by Judge Edward T. Broadhurst in Superior Court today. Hibbert, who is alleged to have confessed to having murdered his bride of a week in their Spring Street apartment and to having dismembered her body, was examined by Dr. Arthur N. Ball of Northampton State Hospital and Dr. George P. McPherson, superintendent of Belchertown State School. These alienists, not sure what that means there, reported that they had found so many abnormalities in Hibbert's history that they considered a period for observation necessary. So I think there's more than just the claw hammer, right? They didn't just find... they said so many abnormalities. So to me, that means there was more to it than just the sister and the claw hammer and this recent murder. I think there's probably this long... Oh, is that what they were called back then? Psychologists? Does anybody call them alienists now, though? I don't think so. Yeah. That sounds kind of strange. Alienist. One who... that which believes in aliens. Yeah. And here's another one, pretty much the same thing. I was happy to actually find this because we had struggled to even find any. We were like, where the hell did he go? And we knew that he was committed to a mental hospital. So again, it just says he was committed to Bridgewater State Hospital. And the thing is I don't know if that's still there. I know that, but here's, well, I don't want to jump ahead too far. Okay. So let me get the next part out here. So after that period of time while he was in the mental hospital, they deemed him sane for the courts system. So he was sort of remanded back to the authorities, like law enforcement. And then in June 1940, on the 14th of June, it was actually on the 13th, Walter Hibbert, 21, of 21 Spring Street, and when you type 21 Spring Street in, that's where you get this empty lot now. They probably thought, man, God, that place is haunted after that. Especially after such a lenient life. I mean, this guy... So right here, Walter R. Hibbert, 21, of 21 Spring Street, who confessed to the murder of his bride of a week, November 3rd, 1939, pleaded guilty to a charge of second-degree murder. Really? Second-degree murder, huh? That's what you got out of that one? You got second-degree? Boy, yeah, he was just... heat of the moment, man. Something happened and he snapped. No, he said to you guys, I just wanted to see what it was like to kill. So you're going to give him second-degree murder on that. Judge Nelson P. Brown sentenced young Hibberd to Charlestown State Prison for life. So that's a decent sentence. But he didn't serve life, okay, because he definitely got out after that. So he was in prison. He was in there for life. And that prison, however, if somebody can find this, I didn't have time to look it up, but the Charlestown State Prison shut down in 1955, and I would assume he was still in there at that time. And can anybody find really quickly where the prisoners that would have been in that prison would have all been transferred to at that time? Because I think in 1955 he was probably moved to another prison. And let me load that up right now. Charlestown State Prison, Wikipedia. And it was a correctional facility in Charlestown, Boston, Massachusetts, operated by Massachusetts Department of Corrections. The facility was built at Lynn's Point, now the intersection of Austin Street and New Rutherford Avenue. So I do have that as well. I don't think it's still there, but let me go out a little bit further. Yeah, right, it's way over here. So that's exactly this intersection right here. It's this intersection and that one. I don't know if it was here at one time or if it's this, but was there, or maybe this. I mean, that kind of looks like a prison, doesn't it? A little bit. Not sure what that is, but looks like a cemetery. But I'm gonna go down Street View and see if what that is at this point. Yeah, probably turned it into a hotel at some point. I don't know where. It could have been completely torn down, and these are just the buildings that are been put up since. But that does have a similar look to a prison. I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually in there. This whole thing might have been surrounded. Hard to say, but they did say it was at this intersection, like near there. So it could have just been right there. So what's going on, everybody? Isn't this just kind of stuff piss you off a little bit? Like, they even listed him as a psychopath. He killed. I think if you're a psychopath and you murdered somebody, it should always be life without parole, every single time. And who knows? We're trying to figure out where this guy went. Did he ever leave a trail of bodies in those locations? And how long was he in prison for? Because he definitely got out. He got married in I think 1960. We have all that information in this folder, so let me go back to what I was just looking at. Yeah, so I guess it was planned to be built in 1803. Man, that's way back then. But it looks like the prison closed in November 1955, and prisoners were moved to other facilities. So I guess what you could do is probably call up the, I think it would be Massachusetts General, I don't know, there was, I saw the name in here, but it was like the general number for their prison system. And you could probably call that and ask if there's any records on where people were transferred to, and maybe even get when they were set free, if you will. All right, let me open up. There's one document that was this one right here. So this is one that was just sent today. This is one that said psychosis with psychopathic personality. This is from, I think, 1940 while he was being examined. And there's a lot of stuff in here. And apparently he did register for the draft, but I think all prisoners, that's what I was told in the email by the person I mentioned earlier, which is Paulette. She said that almost all prisoners are registered for the military just being in there. It's just done automatically. So he was registered for the military at that point. Yeah, look at, there he is right there. Oh man. Walter R. Hibbert. February 2nd. 1940 it looks like, if that's what that is. Patient was brought here this afternoon by an officer from Hampden County Superior Court. At time of admission, patient was quiet, well conducted, but had a peculiar, dull, apathetic manner, and talked about the killing of his wife without any show of emotion, and he smiled at times when discussing it. Yeah, that sounds like somebody that should get out someday, everybody. Wow. Like, now that's called, like, flat affect, right? That same thing. He had a really flat affect. And it was strange that he was smiling while talking about it. He stated every 2 or 3 months he had a desire come over him to kill someone, but no one in particular. So how come you chose your wife then that day? He denied that he ever felt any outside influences forcing him to do anything, or that he ever heard voices talking to him. I actually missed this part of this document earlier. That's unbelievable. Wow. He signed his mailing card and went toward H3 without causing any trouble. Now, let me just read that again. At the time of admission, patient was quiet, well conducted, but had a peculiar, dull, apathetic manner, and talked about the killing of his wife without any show of emotion, and he smiled at times when discussing it. He stated every 2 or 3 months he had a desire to come over him to kill someone, but no one in particular. He denied that he ever felt any outside influences forcing him to do things, or that he ever heard voices talking to him. So basically he's saying, hey, I'm totally sane, I just feel like killing every once in a while. Patient is a slender, white male of English-Swedish descent, well-developed and nourished, age 20. Height, 5'10", weight 136 pounds. Man, that's really skinny. Maybe not back then, though. I think we just eat more food now. Hair light brown, eyes blue, complexion medium. And I guess the scars, one medium-sized vaccination scar on his left arm, faint irregular scar right elbow. So really, and then a scar of circumcision. Really? Okay. I don't see a scar. I don't. Does any of you guys out? Well, you guys ever notice a scar on you? Yeah. That's some weird shit. Yeah, he should have had a lobotomy scar, but apparently there wasn't one. So now they're going to talk about his oral cavity. His tongue is medium size. Like, that's such a weird thing to even note, right? Protrudes in the middle line without tremor. Teeth are good. Tonsils small. Mucous membranes normal. Thank you, Cairo Al-Qadir.
Thanks for covering the cases that are relevant today, while still bringing us content from the past. Hardest working dude on YouTube.
Yeah. I do. It's weird. I mean, it seems like all day, I mean, when I have time, stuff comes in and then I'm looking stuff up and it's just, ugh. But it's fun though. I mean, that's the thing is, like, I feel like sometimes I'm just tired. but then you look at something and you just keep going because it's crazy. So his chest was well developed, expansion good and equal, lungs clear and resonate throughout. No cardiac enlargement. Apex and pulse, fifth inner space about an inch below the nipple. No murmurs. Blood pressure 115/80. Heart sounds and pulse good. Quality rate 90. So he had a heart rate of 90. I'm not sure. Negative for the abdomen, anus, etc. Negative except for relaxed, inguinal rings. Relaxed. And then GU system negative. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see down here. Alright, let's go to this part here, the family history here. History obtained from patient and seems reliable. Says he was born in Willimantic, Connecticut, May 26, 1919, and is now 20 years old. Father was born in Lebanon, Connecticut. Well, you wouldn't know that, Lanky Tor, because on the show earlier today, I was called every name under the sun by a bunch of whack jobs. Okay. Father was born in Lebanon, Connecticut. Mother in Cromwell, Connecticut. The family came to Massachusetts about 10 years ago and has lived in West Springfield ever since. Father had a grocery store in Willimantic. See, I bet you when we read this, we're going to go, how come he turned out that way? Because a lot of people think that they become that way because of their environment. So let's see where this, if anything comes up like that, because I haven't read this yet. Now, Father had a grocery store in Willimantic, Connecticut for several years, but for the past 10 years, he has been a salesman for the General Foods Company and earns between $40 and $50 a week. Wow. I guess that was big money back then, huh? I mean, remember when, I think back then, homes cost something like $6,000 or something. I mean, it was really just crazy. Maybe even less than 10. He owns his own home and has always supplied the family well. He does not drink, and the home situation has always been very satisfactory. He states that both father and mother have good dispositions, so he's even saying this. Got along well together, and that the home situation was always very satisfactory. There never has been any mental or nervous disease in the family as far as he knows. Personal history. Patient is the youngest in a family of 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. Right, so that's the girl that he hit with the claw hammer. Brother Charles, 26, graduated from Northeastern University in 1938 as an industrial engineer. He is now in the Air Corps of the United States Navy. So he probably definitely fought in World War II, I would think. Sister Kathleen attended the University of Alabama 1 year and then left to get married. Patient seems to have come from a better than average family and had practically no early economic or social problems. Well, what about the claw hammer? Early development. He knows nothing about his early development. Thinks he was a normal, healthy child. So he just might not have mentioned this in this interview. So this is all stuff he's saying. So they didn't know about that. Education. Started going to school at the public kindergarten at Willimantic, Connecticut at the age of 5 and graduated from his high school at West Springfield, Massachusetts at the age of 19. He attended the American International College at Springfield, Massachusetts, but left after 1 month as he says he was having difficulty in concentrating. I'm sure you were. You were thinking, God, I'd like to kill somebody. In high school, he had some difficulty with mathematics and says he had to repeat second-year French, but says this was because he was lazy, not because he found the subject difficult. While in high school, he says he became disinterested in schoolwork and stayed out his junior year, but that the next year he went back and completed the course. He says that he was never a particularly good student, but that on the whole he received average marks. He says that as a child he had tendencies to keep by himself and played very little with other children. But he attributes this to his being a little cross-eyed. And I thought I could see that in the... What page are we on right here? 6. Okay. Oh, crap. Where'd that go? There it is. So we're on page 6. Yeah. See right there? Like I was looking at that, and this left eye looks like it's crossed in. See that? Can you guys make that out? I actually was noticing that earlier, but I didn't think it was something he was relevant at all, but he actually brought it up. He says he was always self-conscious of these defects. Let's see what else he had. He says that as a child he had a tendency to keep to himself and played very little with other children, but he attributes this to his being a little cross-eyed and to the fact that his front teeth were out of line. He says he was always self-conscious of these defects, but that later he overcame this and then he mixed with others more freely. He admits that once he stole $2 from a gas station where he worked. Seems like that's kind of a lot of money in a way if you get $50 a week. Yeah, I mean, back then, you could remember that? You could buy like a whole pack of gum for a penny or something, when a penny actually meant something. He admits that he stole $2 from a gas station where he worked, says this was never discovered, but that his conscience troubled him considerably. Really? So that really bothered you a lot, but it didn't bother you much at all to just think, God, I'd like to kill and act it out. So maybe you're equating the $2 similarly, because you felt bad after you killed your wife. So you're just saying something you shouldn't do, they're all equal. There's no level of something you won't do. Everything bad is the same, and as soon as you do that thing, you now feel guilty about it. Yeah, okay. But that his conscience troubled him considerably. He attended Sunday school regularly. Huh. Well, here you go. He began masturbating at the age of 12 or 13 and continued for several years. I don't think today they consider that something like you'd even report, you know? Right? Come on. Says at the time he worried about this a great deal. He established heterosexual relations the past year. Says he had been going with a girl for 2 or 3 years, but that they never had intercourse until last summer. I know, it's normal now, it seems like, right? I mean, but back then they made it seem like, oh my God, you're so deviant, right? Right. We don't know if he ever stopped. But here's one thing I think is a reality. See, he was 20 years old, and let's say he was in prison for, let's just say 25 more years. Then now all of a sudden he's 46, and he might not have the same, hormonal, if that's what it. And I don't know though, because just the desire to kill anybody doesn't seem to be related to any sort of hormones or anything like that. So I don't know how he could have actually you guys are crazy, okay? Yeah. I'm just kind of reading. All right, anyways. Last October, okay, so he says that he never had intercourse until last summer. Last October, she told him that she was 2 months pregnant, and he married her a week later, in October 27th, 1939. They went. We were told that she was more pregnant than that, like later, like 8 months, in a different article. They went to live in one room at 21 Spring Street in Springfield, Massachusetts. He says that they got along very well. Well, I'd hope so. You married her, right? I mean, oh yeah, we got along really well. Yeah. It's a weird sentence to say about your wife of 8 days. Yeah, we got along really well. That during the 1 week of married life, they did not have any quarrel and that everything was pleasant and agreeable. Yeah. Oh, there's Hoosier the Bruiser's back in here again. He said he's going to do something on Lumberton, and we've covered Lumberton in here a million times, and it's an interesting case. That's one of those ones. The more people to cover it, the better, right? It's but I actually have somebody else out there named let's see. Well, I know her real name, but her other name isn't coming to my. Let's see. God, why can't I remember her YouTube name? It's called Chasing Truth. She's actually going to go out and interview that lady. All right, the mom of Rhonda Jones, and maybe even the sister too, at some point. So they went to live in one room at 21 Spring Street, the 1 week of married life. They did not have any quarrel, and that everything was pleasant and agreeable. At this time, he did not have a job, and they were being financed by her mother. He says that she did not bring any pressure on him to marry her on account of her pregnancy, but that he was not only perfectly willing, but anxious to marry her. He says there's no question but that he was the father of the expected child. He says that about 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. on the evening of November 3rd, 1939, a desire came over him to kill someone. And as his wife was the only one available, he took a hunting knife and stabbed her in the abdomen between 10 and 11 p.m. Says he aimed at her heart but missed, and the blade penetrated her abdomen. Says he had no particular desire to kill his wife, and that if there had been any other person present, he probably would have killed them instead of his wife. After she died, he cut her head off and tried to dismember the body, intending to put it in dress suit cases and throw them in the river, and then drown himself. Right, of course, But he found that he could not dismember the body, so he went to the railroad station and took the 12:32 a.m. train to Brattleboro, Vermont. So I guess it was Brattleboro. As soon as he arrived at Brattleboro, he gave himself up to police and told them that he had killed his wife. Isn't that insane? I mean, this right here. See, this kind of story here proves that there are just people that are like that, and it's just like the one there. I can't remember what it was. It was at the beginning of the Delphi case. Somebody was saying, "Hey, look, there's this, similar thing here," but it was this Asian guy, and you see him on surveillance, follow this girl down a path by a bathroom rest area. It looked like it was more of a park, but it's that similar look, like a rest park bathroom. And he walks behind her. Then later he comes back, puts something in the garbage can, and they eventually arrested him. And while he was in interrogation, they asked him, "Can you just answer one question? Why'd you do that?" And he goes, "I just always wanted to see what it felt like." And he just said it so matter of fact. And that's exactly like this guy in 1939, the Psychopath. Yeah, he wasn't going to drown himself. He's just saying that if he wanted to kill himself, he would have killed himself. He wasn't going to drown himself. Why did it matter that he took her body to the river and then he would drown himself? That doesn't make any sense. Why he could have left her in the apartment and then gone and killed himself. He's just making that shit up. Make it seem like he gave a damn. He didn't care at all. Diseases and injuries. He had whooping cough at the age of 4. German measles. He had a few small jobs for a short period of time, but had done very little work. This is his very first arrest. Does not use alcohol or any form of smokes, and smokes very little. So there's really nothing at all to explain how he is, other than that's just the way he was. This is this is who this person is. He says that although he has always been seclusive and kept much to himself, he always had an inner desire for excitement, and that as a young child he used to picture himself as a train robber and obtained a great deal of pleasure from these fantasies at the age of 14 or 15. He says that he tried to commit a sex assault on his sister. Oh, this is with the claw hammer. He says that he knew she would resist, so he hit her on the head with a hammer. Oh man, he actually tells this story. What a wow, so let's do that again. At the age of 14 or 15, he says, but it was actually 13, right? Because it said it was 7 years prior and he was 20. But it's close, 14 maybe. He says that he tried to commit a sexual assault on his sister. He says that he knew she would resist, so he hit her on the head with a hammer, inflicting scalp wounds which required suturing. He admits that this assault had a sex basis, but denies that there was any sex basis for his assault on his wife. You mean the murder of your wife? Okay. He says that at the age of 10, he set their house afire by, wow, so now we're getting back to that history that we're talking. Starting a fire in the attic. So he, set their house afire by starting a fire in the attic. Then he immediately left the house and went to the riverbank, where he took off his clothes, filled the trousers with sand, and fastened this to himself with his belt, and jumped into the river, intending to drown himself. Oh, back to that again, huh? You know, you sound like Arius when she said she was trying to kill himself and herself. And she said, well, it hurt too much. You know, I started to cut it, it hurt too much. And then, of course, Juan would come back in with, well, imagine how much it hurt him when you were stabbing. All right. His belt broke, and he swam to the shore, where he was later found nude. Says he has no explanation as to why he wanted to burn his house. Says he never had any particular interest in fires. See, look how crazy this is. I mean, he definitely, he's a psychopath, right? He had all these things that he just, because he can do it, he did it. Says he never had any particular interest in fires or the fire department. About 3 years ago, he bought 2-ounce bottles of iodine at the drugstore, and that evening he drank part of one bottle with the intent of committing suicide. But after drinking a small quantity, it hurt. Oh, look at this. Oh, man. It hurt so much that he stopped and notified his parents, who called a doctor. Yeah. See, there you go. Just like Arius. See, I mean, I didn't even see this part, and I knew that that's kind of the mentality that he had. What a joke. And he didn't mean it at all. And you know how we know that he didn't mean this? For those who don't know, what year do you think this guy died in? Just throw it out there. If you know the answer, don't say it. Okay? What year do you think this guy died? So this is 1939. What year did he die? This will explain how you know for sure that he did not. He wasn't going to kill himself. No, he died. He died in 2009. Okay, he was 90 years old at the time. Okay, 2009. Can you believe that shit? Yeah, so he lived all those years, got married a couple times. But let's keep going through this. That's so ridiculous. It hurt so much that he stopped and notified his parents, who called a doctor. Says that previously he has had periods when he would be depressed and had had strong feelings of inadequacy and felt that he was not getting anywhere. God, you could have just done everybody a favor. He says that since June 1939, he has had 3 or 4 spells when he has had an intense desire to do something desperate, and the last one culminated in his killing his wife. Well, why didn't you kill yourself? You know, the one time that you could have followed through on it. Couldn't you have just done that first? I mean, you're full of shit, dude. You literally just wanted to see what it felt like, and that's why you did it. And you attacked your sister because you could, and you just did it, and the hell with the consequences. And then you tried to burn down your home, and the hell with the consequences. You know, your whole suicide crap is absolute bullshit. I mean, I know you're not alive listening to me right now, but what I'm hoping is that there's family members out there that, you know what I wonder? I wonder if some of the people who married him later had any clue. Because let me ask you this. Put a 1 in the chat if you would ever marry somebody who you knew at one point chopped their previous wife's head off and then tried to cut the rest of their body up into parts, no matter what treatment they got. Well, I know there's some out there because they write letters to these idiots in prison. But is there anybody out there that would put a 1 or put a 2 if you wouldn't? I mean, this is stupid. Yeah, I don't think that's... I think in this case, this guy's just born this way. Yeah, I think it just happens sometimes. I know that people don't want it to be that way, but some people, this is just who they are. You know? I think if you look up research, psychopaths, I don't think you're going to get a lot of the nurturing part. Like they weren't sort of raised and then became one. You know, look at the other brother. I know that sometimes there's one brother that's treated differently than another. I don't think it has anything to do with parental upbringing whatsoever in this case. And I know there's other ones just like it. I've actually looked that stuff up, and there's... it's just... Some people, that's just how they're born. You know, for example, there's people that are autistic, right? And they're kind of born that way. You know, maybe some people think, oh, no, it's always because of vaccines, but there was autistic people before vaccines. So, autism is something that people have. They're born that way. It's something that they have. So the thing is that could be the same thing with psychopathy. Jesus. Yeah, he's just a psycho. That's about it. Yeah. Man, he should have just followed through on it, though, before he killed his wife. Patient is quiet, well-conducted, and very cooperative. He gives good attention, and there are no mannerisms of any kind. So he has no mannerisms. He just... I think that's what you call flat affect right there. He has no mannerisms. There is a normal amount of spontaneous production. This is his stream of mental activity. Oh yeah, there's a normal amount of spontaneous production. He answers all questions promptly and apparently accurately. There is no confusion or... See, that makes him scarier to me. That he's literally telling you guys the truth of what he is, and apparently you gave him second-degree murder and he got out at some point. So when he got out, how were you able to make sure that he didn't have these same thoughts? Well, he had shock therapy for 25 years. We were just hoping. There is no apparent disturbance of train of thought and no abnormal motor reactions. emotional tone. He does not seem to be either depressed or elated. No highs, no lows. But there seems to be some emotional flattening at some of his emotional reactions are entirely inadequate. He says he is sorry that he killed his wife, but he tells in detail all the gruesome features of this crime without any expression of emotion, and he frequently smiles while talking about it. He seems to entirely fail to appreciate the seriousness of this affair and now looks forward only to his own future welfare. Although he says he does not worry any about what is going to happen to him, but he realizes he may be facing the electric chair. So this is before his sentencing. This is his evaluation. And all he got was second-degree murder and life in prison, which apparently means nothing. Yeah. Let's see. So mental content. No delusions or hallucinations. See, there's nothing weird like that. He's not like bipolar or any kind of nothing strange there. I mean, this is kind of freaky, really. Yeah, he doesn't have schizophrenia right there. That's the one. No delusions or hallucination or any kind can be elicited. He says that for a year or two, he has had mild depressed periods during which he has had strong feelings of inadequacy, that he did not amount to anything, and that sometimes he has thoughts of suicide, but made no attempt to carry out this idea. So he had he felt really depressed and he thought of killing himself, but instead of doing that, he would just kill somebody else. Says these spells would come over him about once a month. He says that during the early part of last summer, these spells were accompanied by a desire to do something violent and desperate, but that they never took definite form as to what the act would be. Says he never made any attempt to commit any of these acts previous to this crime. He says that the night he killed his wife, he had one of these feelings come over him to do something desperate. But is that really desperate? I mean, it's really just, desperate, and this grew stronger and stronger until it finally culminated in his stabbing his wife. But what does that mean, do something desperate? That doesn't seem to fit. It sounds like you wanted to do something crazy is what you wanted to do. He says that the night he killed his wife, he had one of those feelings come over him to do something desperate, and this grew stronger and stronger. What a cool document this was to find, though. So this is actually in the record somewhere, his actual mental evaluation after he was put into the prison, into the mental hospital for evaluation. He was put in there, and this is like early 1940, actually. Patient's memory is fairly good for both recent and remote events. However, he does not seem to retain as much school knowledge as would be expected in a recent high school graduate. For example, he said that Garfield was president of the United States during the Spanish War. Well, shit. Does any of you know who the president was during the Spanish War right now? Come on. Maybe he should have, though, because that was more recent history for those guys. That's almost, you know what that almost sounded like? The evaluator was bragging. Like one of those things, well, gosh, how did he not know that? Why don't you ask him something different? Yeah, well, you didn't know that right when I asked, believe me. All right, so patient seems to have considerable insight and apparently tries to understand himself, but is entirely unable to do so and cannot understand why he committed this horrible crime. Yeah, you know what's funny is everybody has internets in front of them and they type it in really quick. And they go, oh yeah, wasn't it, as if they had actually had it in their mind. Okay, no way. And cannot understand why he committed this horrible crime. He realizes that it was not the act of a normal person, yet does not feel that he is insane. Says he is afraid that he might do the same thing again if the impulse came over him, and says that it is probably safer for society to keep him locked up. Well, there you go. Hey! I bet when they said, hey, we're going to let you go now, he didn't argue, though, right? Anybody out there think he said, nah, I'd like to stay in here? Right? Something like that. Sassmere. Hey, Sassmere's here. She was too lazy to look it up really quick, she said. Yeah, that's about the only good thing this guy said the whole time was that he says he is afraid that he might do the same thing again if the impulse came over him, and says that it is probably safer for society to keep him locked up. Wow. So let's see what the summary is of the doctor here. We have a 20-year-old young man who has shown abnormal behavior for several years. As a young child, he was seclusive and played very little with other children. He explains this to the fact that since he had whooping cough in early childhood, he has been slightly cross-eyed, and to the fact that his front teeth are quite irregular and gives his mouth a peculiar appearance. He says that he was always very sensitive about this, and that it caused a feeling of inferiority and inadequacy. So because his teeth were crooked and his eyes were crossed, he had urges to kill. He states that at an early age, he began to develop fantasies in which he would picture himself as doing deeds of bravery, such as holding up and robbing trains. This seems like a compensatory mechanism to offset his feeling of inferiority. At the age of 10, he set fire to some papers that he took to the attic of his home with the intention of burning the house. After starting the fire, he ran down to the river, took off his clothes, filled his pants with sand, and tied his sand-filled pants to himself with his belt, and jumped in the river with the intention of committing suicide, but the belt broke, and he climbed to the shore and was later found by his parents entirely nude. He has no explanation as to why he tried to burn his home, and denies that he ever had any particular interest in fires. At the age of 15, he assaulted his older sister by striking her on the head with a claw hammer, inflicting scalp wounds. He admits that he intended to have intercourse with her, and freely admits that his assault was based entirely on sex. Although his school record is somewhat erratic, in that he did excellent work during his first year in high school, and then began to lose interest, and did rather poorly. The following 3 years, he now has an IQ of 111. That's not too bad, I don't think. But by the Otis test. So there is no question of mental deficiency. I don't think 111 is that low, is it? Maybe I can't remember. Maybe it was like 130 was pretty high, and let's see. So they're saying a 111 means he's mentally deficient. Weird. Yeah. Well, Bruiser said McKinley had a special bathtub put in the White House. Why did he do that? Why did he need a special bathtub? Let's see. Right, I didn't think it was deficient. Maybe it was different back then, though. Maybe they had a different... Oh, he was too big. So maybe 111, maybe it was said differently, but I always thought like the 100 means if you're 100, you're just kind of you're right at the average. But anything above that, it's like, for example, if you're 20 years old and you have a IQ of 200, you have the knowledge of a 40-year-old or something like that. That's what I thought when somebody explained it to me a long time ago. I don't remember if that was accurate. I haven't looked at that crap in a long time. I can't do the auctioneer, Sassmare, because I don't have that app isn't open. Okay, Sassmare. He says that since the middle of last summer, he has had several spares when he would have a strong desire to do something desperate, but that this desire never took any definite form until it culminated in his killing his wife, to whom he had been married only 1 week, on November 3rd, 1939. He claims that he has no explanation for this act and firmly denies any motive. Well, the motive is that you... Well, there is a motive. Your motive is that you just wanted to kill somebody. That's your motive. That's, it's like saying, going to the store and you want a bar of chocolate, right? Like, does anybody need a motive? Your motive to get a bar of chocolate is what? See, that's what's scary about these types. They kill with the same rationale. Well, I remember that kid that had an IQ of 200 or something. He was like, I don't even remember. But yeah, you go and buy a Snickers or a Kit Kat, a Ding Dong, all that stuff. You buy it. There's no motive. You just go, boy, that sounds good, right? So you go get it. That's why you go get it. Right. There isn't a motive, though. I guess that is. The motive is that you just want one, and so that's what this guy is doing when he's killing. He claims that the fact that it was forced marriage. Oh, it was forced marriage? I didn't think he said that. He claims that the fact that it was a forced marriage had no bearing on the case. Well, it may have made it so that you didn't actually love her, and you looked at her like she was just a person that you could then kill. So maybe that explains why you just killed her, because you may have had sex with her, and maybe you didn't really care that much about her, and she was just, oh wow, you're forced to get married, and then you killed her because she, to you, was just a regular person. Now, I shouldn't have bought up candy bars, because now everybody's typing them in over and over. I'll wait. Hold on a second. Yeah, he definitely contradicts himself, for sure. Yeah, I don't know if it was a shotgun wedding. He just sounds like he was forced to do it. I know that's what that is, but a shotgun wedding is anytime you're forced. You don't necessarily have to have a shotgun out. Now, who knows if that's what it was, the wife and the kids. I think I think he's somebody that just wanted to kill, and at that moment he looked at his wife and thought, wow, that'd be awesome. He tells all the gruesome details of his crime without any show of remorse, although he says in an indifferent manner that he is sorry, but he frequently smiles when telling about it. His emotional flattening, possibly slight memory defect and perhaps a little thought difficulty at times suggests an early schizophrenic condition, but at the present time, neither delusions or hallucinations can be elicited. Right, so he doesn't definitely... Wow, so they even had schizophrenia was called that same thing back then. Interesting. He began to show abnormal conduct at the age of 10 when he tried to burn his home. I bet there was other stuff prior to that. Then I bet you he did a lot of crazy stuff way prior to being 10. Just wasn't reported to anybody. Since then, there's been the assault on his sister and another attempt at suicide by drinking iodine before his final act of murder, which, as far as can be determined, has no motive. Now, I guess this goes over with the parents. All right, so now we can hear from the parents. You guys interested in hearing this part? Because this might disprove or prove some of the stuff people were saying. Patient's father was rather vague in his answers to the questions and said that mother knew more about the patient. Therefore, most of the questions were answered by the mother. She stated that he had whooping cough at the age of 8 months and then developed influenza, and that he was seriously ill. But the doctor who was treating him felt that his condition was very grave. Mother did not know whether or not he may have had sleeping sickness at the time. The following summer, patient contracted measles, which was complicated with bronchitis. Man, this guy, he got sick. And when he recovered from this, his left eye turned inward. She stated that this condition of internal strabismus of the left eye had great bearing on the patient because he became very sensitive about it. She said that he had no convulsions, aneurysms, or fits of temper, but that he was always sensitive and kept by himself most of the time. He has no other serious childhood diseases, operations, or injuries during his adolescence, except for his seclusiveness and sensitivity, which she could not elaborate upon. She noticed nothing unusual. The first time that mother was alarmed about him was when he assaulted his sister at the age of 13. So it was 13, not 14. At that time, she sent him to a doctor for examination. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible that some of these diseases and so forth that he had contributed to what he was, but there's other people that have the exact same thing that don't have all those. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I would say up until the 80s, maybe, late 70s maybe, the men would actually work most of the time, and then the women, in a normal family, and the women would stay at home and take care of the kids. Okay, now it's not like that at all. Everybody, I mean, both parents work most of the time. Maybe for a year or so, one of the parents will stay at home with the kids. Who knows? But I'm just saying, it's totally different back then. So the parent, the father, I mean, they're both parents, but the father would be out. Mainly, that's all he would do was just work. Work, bring home the money, and the wife would take care of the household, right? So his father not knowing what's going on isn't really a big deal. I was just commenting on what you guys were talking about above there. Let's see. There was no mental or nervous disease. There was no mental or nervous disease on either side of the family. When asked if he had set fire to her house, she denied this emphatically. In fact, patient's father chimed in in the conversation, so he must have been sitting there, and stated that it was impossible for him to have started the fire because it originated in the walls of the building and it was due to a defect in electric wiring. Well, that might be what you told the insurance company. Right. They stated that the patient was frightened at the time and ran out naked, carrying his clothes under his arm. Patient could swim, and they felt that there was no credence in patient's story of trying to commit suicide. I don't believe that part. So who knows what the correct version of it is. But the thing is, if your kid burns down the house, it's probably not going to be... the insurance isn't going to look very kindly on that. Right. Yeah, I'm just reading what they're saying, Alicia. I'm not, I don't know. All I know is there's people that are born just like this guy. It sounds like he had a normal house. His brother grew up normally. His sister, minus the head wound that she had, probably grew up normally too. And he didn't. And I don't think you can blame it all on having some kind of your eyes crossed or anything like that. Having the desire to kill that strongly is something else. There's something else there. Let's see. Mother states that she was informed by Caroline's patient's mother-in-law that on 2 occasions when he visited Caroline in New Hampshire, he fainted and they were much concerned about him. Caroline also told her that patient would have laughing spells. Mother further states that Dr. Jerome Whitney, who has been treating her son, would know more about this mental condition. It was my impression that mother and father were not very eager to divulge all the information they knew about the patient. It seemed that they were inclined to minimize many of the important events in the patient's adolescent life. Okay, look at that. So on March 24th, 1940, patient states that he has not had any desire or urge to do anything desperate or unusual. Wow. Man, he got recovered really quick. Says that the last time that he experienced this urge to do something desperate was on the night that he killed his wife. I knew that was going to be his next sentence. Claims previous to this, he experienced this abnormal desire to commit some unusual act about once a month. Wow, so just being in there, you're cured. He has no explanation to offer as to why he has ceased to have these urges. Well, probably because all the criminals that you're looking at could kick your ass in, okay? You weighed 135 pounds, you're probably looking at some guys that are 220. He states that he never had periods of unconsciousness or periods of which he would be dazed or confused for a short time. Since being here, patient's conduct has been normal in all respects, and there has been nothing up to the present time to suggest any actual psychosis. He analyzes his own situation very well and fully realizes. Look how they're just... See, that's the thing. Psychologists are so proud of themselves, and they're so eager to free somebody to prove how good they did in the treatments. Listen to how flowery it starts getting down here now. You know, since being here, Walter's conduct has been normal in all respects, and there has been nothing up to the present time to suggest any actual psychosis. He analyzes his own situation very well and fully realizes the seriousness of his present situation. He says that for some time he has been groping around, trying to find a solution for his case, and so far he has not been able to find any. May 3rd, 1940, patient was discharged today and returned to the Hampden County Superior Court to stand trial for his offense. The diagnosis is psychosis with psychopathic personality. All right, but right here, you contradicted yourself by saying there's nothing to suggest psychosis. So if that's true, why right here did you say my diagnosis is psychosis with psychopathic personality? Yeah, pretty strange to just sort of reverse it just like that, right? I'm just kind of reading through this. Yeah, so this is like the written, typed up. Yeah. Always been able to overcome it until the night he killed his wife. Authorized return of Walter Hibbert to the Hampden. Yeah, so anyways, this last part's just about sort of the record that they sent while sending him back to the, being incarcerated. He's not in a mental hospital anymore being evaluated. He's actually literally in jail now waiting a trial. But it turns out that he was sentenced to life in prison. And let's see if what else we have out here. Yeah, so here's a marriage certificate from the state of Indiana that eventually he lived in. Clarksville, Indiana. So there you go, everybody. You can actually relate it to the state of Indiana, which seems to be where a lot of the cases that are being talked about is from. Let's see when this was. So the groom was 85 years old. So let's see. 1939, he was 20. So it would have been 69 years. 65 years after 1939, which would be, that should be like 2000 and, isn't that? So his last marriage ended in 1995. He's had 2 marriages. Huh. Let's see, total number of previous marriages, 2. So was one of them the first one when he killed his wife, and the second one was 1995. That ended. And this one is, there should be a date up here though, wouldn't you think? Oh, there it is. December 1st, 2001. So man, he was still getting married and shit. His 3rd marriage, 2001. Whew. Boy, that guy, he had a busy life. He even has kids and everything. But what I've always wanted to figure out, I guess that'll be next, was when did he get out of prison? And then where did he live right after that? And are there any people that were missing in those areas during the time he lived there that are unsolved, you see? Yeah. Indiana's got a lot of murders and weird shit going on over there. Other than that, man, it's awesome. Mainly what it is I think probably we just hear about them all because here's what the deal is. You got the Libby Abbey case, right? And then every time there's any kind of a murder of any kind, everybody in the Delphi groups posts every single one of those to think, hey, is this related? Hey, is this one related? And no, it's not. But so everybody hears about ones in Indiana all the time. Plus, it does seem like there's interesting cases out of there. Like I covered April Tinsley a lot. That was from, 1989, I think, 88 or 89. So. I mean, there is interesting cases there, but it's just brought up so much in the Delphi groups that everybody that watches one of our channels from Delphi is like, oh my God, yeah, there's just tons and tons. I mean, you know, Chicago has more murders in a day than probably Indiana does a whole year, you know? I'm sure that's inaccurate, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, everybody's the bridge guy. You're right. Yeah. So, anyways, this sucker, he lived all the way until 2009. I mean, imagine, doesn't that just bug you a little bit? Like, he kills the wife in 1939 when she's pregnant, just to see what it felt like. And then he was able to be married 3 times and have kids. And that second marriage, I think, lasted like 30-something years, too. Let me see this one here. This is another document. Yeah. So here's one. I think this is the one. This one right here isn't him because it's the date, but I think this 68 here is his first one. I mean, the second marriage. So you go 68. So if he was born, he would have been born in 1919. So, hell, he's 49, right? 49 years old when he got married. And that's still an age where, you know, you might still get some craziness going on. So, I guess he was married in Middleton. So, I guess we could take a look at that and see if there's any from 1968 to maybe like 19. I would give him till, I'd do about 8 years after that. And then maybe he just quit naturally, a little bit like the Golden State Killer, after he lost his, his sexual desire. But I don't think that's what. I don't know. I do think hormones and things like that affect people a little bit. So a lot of times, if you completely, later on in life when you're like 60 or 70 or something like that, you lose some of that same desire to go out and kill like that. And I guess in some types of criminals. I don't know. That's just what I was thinking. Don't quote me on that one. Yeah. Have a good one, Hoosier. Yeah, I sent you a map on the Lumberton one. Got them all pinned out on there. Call what? I have to wait for lines. I don't even. No, there's no. The number on the screen isn't even working right now. Michelle, don't tell people to just start calling if if I don't say I'm going to take calls. Don't just say, hey, yeah, you can call. Yeah, I'll put you in the queue. I didn't say I was taking calls right now. That number on the screen's from last night. Yeah, I'll let people know if I'm going to be doing calls. I might in a couple minutes, but. But anyways, I thought that was going to be it would be an interesting update on that one to go through that whole thing. It's just I don't know why it's just one of those ones that kind of grabbed me from so long ago. It's just the whole idea of it. The wife, after 8 days of marriage, just sitting there on a bed saying, hey, can you get me some water? And the urge to kill took over, so he got a knife, stabbed her in the chest, but he tried to go for the heart, but he didn't get it. So then he dragged her over to the sink and cut her head off, put her body in the bathtub, cut parts of her body off, but then realized it was too hard to do so. He said he planned to put her in some like suitcases almost, throw them in the water, and then he was going to drown himself too, a story that he would often tell people but never would follow through on. And then he tried to, at one point in his life, tried to kill himself with, what was that shit? Iodine. And it said it hurt too much, so he quit doing it. But yeah, then after he killed her, he was going to try to escape to Canada because he thought through it. And then he thought, hell, I'm going to turn myself in. And so he turned himself in. Then he was committed to a mental hospital. We just went over the entire evaluation. They determined that he was fit to go back to the court systems and was put back in jail. And then he was sentenced to life in prison, convicted of second-degree murder. Does anybody agree with second-degree murder here at all? He said he had an urge to kill. I guess when he says urge, that makes it an emotion. But I think it's about as far away as you can get from second-degree murder. I don't think it's close. To me, it's absolute thinking of doing it and then doing it. It's an urge. It's like it's just what he wanted to do. It was his candy bar, right? All right, so I will do call-ins now because I actually hadn't even thought of it, but since it sounds like somebody wants to call in, I might as well do it. But I have to set it up, and it'll take a minute. Gray, you're so mean. You whistled. Yeah, well, too bad. Well, it hurt my ear. Well, too bad. I'll whistle louder next time. Gray, see how Gray's so mean to his viewers. He's so... That's what the narrative always is. You know, I hear it every single day on these channels. They'll go, Gray is so mean to his callers. You know, but if you throw out something that I consider to be ludicrous, I'm going to tell you, yeah, that's what I have no ill will towards you, okay? So just get over it. If you can't deal with it, then don't be part of social media. All right? I like all of you guys. I think I don't end the show going, God, I hate that one person. You know? You might, because I didn't like one of the things you might have said. Like, hey, I can definitely make out handcuffs in his left pocket. No, you can't. No, I can really see it. No, you can't. Okay, you can't see handcuffs in his left pocket. You think you can see that, and your mind's telling you that, and you'll never be able to see anything but handcuffs at this point, but you cannot tell. So, all right. We are at the point where you can call in now. The number on the screen, you can definitely call in. Yeah. So it's ready. So I'll give you about 2 minutes. If there's no call, then we're going to turn it off because you said somebody was calling in. Crystal, a.k.a. Beaver Gaming sub Crystal. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Walter Hibbert. Ding dong. What's that mean? Yeah, no, he was trying to get away with it. Cut her up, and then he was going to go to Canada. Right. I need the answer of when he got out of prison, though. That's all I care about. I want to know when he got. How many years did he serve in there? And it'd be nice to know what kind of treatment. You know, it would have to involve something like cutting out part of his brain for me to say, well, yeah, maybe. And I think that would mainly be the stem, right? Yeah. All right, so you guys aren't calling in, right? Okay, well. Michelle said somebody was calling. Oh, there's some. Oh, there you go. This is. You have to turn down the audio in the background now.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air, but you got to turn down the volume in the background, because. Unless it's your kids
is
making.
It on?
Well, no, now it's just your kids, but originally I could hear myself. But I don't think you can turn down the volume of your kids.
Right, I'm gonna walk outside.
Well, no, that's all right.
I'm gonna walk outside. Okay.
Yeah. At first I could hear myself.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
I've
up?
been listening to you for about 2 months. So,
Oh yeah? Who's this?
my name is Rebecca.
Hello.
Hello.
So what's going on?
So, I was thinking about the Delphi case, and I was thinking about the thing that was talking about the other night. The other night, the guy was talking about on the bridge, I guess,
Was everything okay over there? It sounds like it's loud. You know.
No. Sorry. But I was thinking about on the bridge with the girls, I was thinking that when they had the camera, when they took the photo, like, I wouldn't have taken a photo unless I seen the person more than once.
Well, it wasn't a photo, though. It was a video.
Well, even the video, I wouldn't have done it unless I've seen this person more than once. Because you see people walk by, you know what I'm saying? But unless there's something about them that you've seen them maybe more than once, you wouldn't take the video.
Yeah, like maybe she saw. I mean, I sort of see what you're saying, but it could just be that you were on the. Let's say they were on the bridge. They were about halfway across, and then they look behind him and they see this person coming, and they're like, "God, look at that! Who is this person?" Because you would be scared if you were on a bridge like that and you were in the middle of it, and you see somebody that's really committed to going across. They're not looking around at stuff. See, here's the thing: most people, when they're on that bridge, they're slowly walking across, looking, stopping at each platform, looking out at the scenery because it is pretty, right? All that stuff. But if you see somebody, but if you're on the bridge like 2/3 of the way across, and you look back and there's somebody coming at you and they're not doing that, they are just walking with purpose towards you. Then I could see, they're like, whoa, what's going on? And then when they catch up to you, she turns it on because she's nervous of who this person would be.
I think it's like something like there was something unusual, even if like it was like, I don't know. I just feel like they already seen this guy before. Like it
Well,
was more
that's
than
what that
once.
is. Well, that's what I'm saying. They saw him walking on the bridge towards him, and then when they got to the end, he's still coming. And then they turn on the camera. Like you think that maybe, but I've also said it's possible that
I think
they met them by
he
the.
was going another direction first, and then
No.
came from another direction later.
No, that didn't happen. So anyway, it could have been that they met at the parking area. Like, let's say it was the parking area, and when they got out of he could have been standing there and maybe said something to him, and then they kept walking and probably thought, God, that guy was creepy. But then they kept going, went to the bridge, and then they just sort of forgot about him because he wasn't directly behind them anymore.
Yeah,
and then
they've seen him more than one time. Like
Yeah, I mean that's
It
possible.
was not the first time.
Yeah, I mean it's possible. I've said it a lot that he could have seen them near the benches or something like that. And then, when they were on the bridge, like they thought he was creepy when they saw him, but he kind of left them alone. Then they went to the bridge, but then he followed from way behind. But there wasn't like he didn't come on the bridge from the far side, pass him, and then turn around. It doesn't make any sense because then he said, "Hey guys," like why would you say "Hey guys"? Like last night there was a caller that called in.
You can't say "Hey guys" because I say "Hey guys" to people even if I already seen them.
Right, but that's not actually what I was saying. So what the thing is that you wouldn't say "Hey guys" the second time if you just passed them. Like you don't see. Last night a caller called.
Would.
So you don't get what I'm saying again. I can tell. See, the thing is on the bridge. He was saying a guy. The girl's at the end of the bridge. The guy passed him, walked right by him, then walked 100 feet, and then turned around and then came back and said, "Hey guys," like you would have already said, "Hey guys" when you passed him to walk by him 80 feet, then turn around. You wouldn't say walk by him coldly, then later turn around and come back. "Hey guys," that's just weird. Yeah.
You know what? I think it depends on where you're from or
I don't.
what you do, because I actually think that can be totally normal.
To walk by somebody right by him on a narrow walk by him on a
people.
Yeah, I don't agree at all.
I would do that.
Well, that makes you weird
And
then.
say, "Hey guys."
Yeah, "Hey guys" isn't the part I'm talking about. Everybody says "Hey guys." What I'm saying is if you walk by a group of people, wouldn't you say "Hey guys" the first time you walk by them? Like you walk by and you go, "Hey guys." You wouldn't go walk by them and then turn around and come back and then say "Hey guys" the second time. I mean, you might say it both times.
Well, I
wouldn't say it the second
"Hey guys"
time.
the first time, and I might say "Hey guys" the second time.
Yeah, you might do that, but it seems a little off.
Exactly. So might he.
Yeah, I think it's. I think you're just basing on how you think you might do it, but I don't agree with you at all. I think that somebody wouldn't do it.
Anybody could do that. That's my point.
I go with what's like more likely.
If I might do that, so could anybody else.
Right, but you might think you can fly, and I wouldn't think he could. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't think maybe he thought he could fly.
Well, we don't know.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
the
right,
whole
man.
point.
He could have thought he could fly too. Yeah, wow. Interesting. Let's see.
That's the whole point.
I don't agree with you.
I just thought about that, and I was like, well, hey, I do stuff like that all the time.
I don't really know what your. To be honest with you, I don't even know what your point is.
I'll say nothing, and then I'll say, hey, guys, the second time around.
Yeah, I just haven't been able to figure out what your whole point of this, because you keep kind of flowing with whatever's said instead of what was your actual point that you were trying to make on it.
My point is that I'm not so sure that was, like, I was just saying that, I mean, you kind of agreed with me anyway, so I was just trying to say that I didn't think that was the first time that they saw the man. Right. I think that they've seen him another time before.
Yeah.
And that was the second round.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought, because it took them 27 minutes to get to the bridge. It took them, the thing is, there's 30 minutes of missing time, and I've always thought, well, maybe that person talked to him for a few minutes or something, or they were just lollygagging, as my mom would say, down the path looking at various things. And it took them a while. They got on the bridge, but they had already seen him. And when they're walking across the bridge, he had, but it might not have
passed by them more than one time.
But
This
saying,
was not the first time that they
but
saw
him saying, "Hey guys," the way he said it, like, "Hey guys," I don't know. It's weird. It's almost like, in a way, it feels like he hadn't seen him saying that time.
No.
Yeah.
That could still mean that he's seen them before.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that. I actually believe that he's seen them before, and that's why they knew he was a creeper, and that is why.
I mean, I know
they were taking the video.
Yeah, I just don't think that. But that's one of the points in the favor of him not seeing them is coming up, and I mean, it seems like if he would have said, "Hey guys," when he saw him on the path originally, like if he talked to him. But it could have been that he didn't say anything to him the first time. He was just there, and they thought, "Wow, that guy's creepy." Then he walked to the bridge, and then they're going all the way across.
Either way, yeah.
And then they go across, and they see this creep coming towards him. And then when he gets to him, he says, "Hey guys," and then he passes him, and then he pulls out a gun or something, and then says,
"Exactly.
Get down the hill."
Yes. Yeah. So I agree. Either way, that could be either way, but I do agree that this man was seen more than once. He was seen before. Yeah. Passing them before.
Well, I mean, that's always been in my theories that he was by the benches. Is where it was always in my theory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because I think about it, and it was like if it was me, we see people pass us all the time. But the only time that it would be something that you would record would be if you've seen the person more than once and this person was super creepy.
As why they would do what now?
Like they've passed you more than one time.
Yeah, I think she would have recorded regardless. Though, so I think your theory about saying, well, she only would have recorded if she'd seen him before doesn't make sense, because I just explained to you how now maybe the "hey guys" thing might, I think it's possible that they did see them, but I think she would have done it anyways if she'd looked behind them and saw this guy coming at them. With purpose, without looking around anything, he just hustling across right towards them. I think she still would have had the presence of mind to film and say, "God, who is this guy?" Yeah, makes total sense.
It would have been too quick if he was coming with purpose.
Well, it takes it takes 5 minutes to walk across the bridge. Yeah. So if they were, let's say they looked around and they only had about a minute to go, they would have been. Abby was slow going across. Libby was quicker. She already had crossed, and by the time he was about 60 feet away, Abby was still on the bridge a little bit. And then he caught up and then passed them, and then pulls out a gun and says, "Get down the hill." But he said, "Hey guys," right as he was reaching them. Yeah. But it would have taken a while.
They've seen him more than once. I
but I never said that. But that's not. But I'm just arguing with you that the filming part has nothing to do with they saw him once before. Because the thing is, it could be that, but it also could be that you see this guy coming across. I think they would have filmed regardless, based on the way he was just coming at them, because they probably saw him. When you're walking across the bridge and you're taking pictures, you're looking all around, right? So you might have looked back and you see back in the distance, "Hey, look, there's a guy coming." And then you kind of keep looking. He's just kind of coming, and he's coming. He's not looking around or anything. There's really nothing on the other side of the bridge to go do, really. I mean, there are trails and stuff, but it's really what you're doing when you go to the bridge is to be on the bridge and look around and take pictures. So here's this guy just bolting across, as quick as he can walk, and she pulls out a camera. I'm not saying that he didn't see anybody before that. You see what I'm saying? I didn't say that she didn't see him before. I've always thought that she probably did see somebody. I mean, both of them saw.
I think she's seen him more than once. I don't know why. I just like.
I know, but
really
I don't disagree with that.
Like they've seen him more than once.
Right. But it was just your comment that you made about that's the only reason she would have filmed is because he saw him more than once, and she saw more than once. That doesn't make any sense.
Maybe not, but I just think about myself, and I think of what I would do. You know, because if I see a creeper coming, you know, I see creepers everywhere I go. But if I see a creeper, you know, I see them everywhere and ignore.
Right.
You know, and they might walk by, but if I see them walk by more than once, I'm more likely to take video
but they would have walked by him probably, you know? I mean, it seems like he would have been sort of hanging out there. I guess he could have been on his way back from the bridge to check it out, and then they passed him on his way back to the bench area. But I don't know. I think if you were Libby on the bridge and you saw the guy,
anyway.
Well, it's something to think about, but it doesn't really affect anything in the case whatsoever. It just means that he was either, you know, they saw him at the bench area, or they saw him on the bridge. Right. Either way, she filmed him on the bridge. It doesn't mean she knew who he was or anything. It just means that she filmed him, and she wouldn't have known because the guy wouldn't have said, "Hey guys." They probably would. Well, he might have said, "Hey guys," but they didn't seem to know who he was. They didn't seem to know who he was.
Smart girls, though. Very smart girls.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we got another call coming in.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Well, you got your theory in. You got your theory in. Although it was exactly what I've said on here, but it was just the part about your saying that she only filmed because she had seen him before, and I don't necessarily.
But that's like in my thoughts, like what I would do.
That's your thoughts,
and I'm putting myself in kind of that situation, so.
Yeah. Well, that's what I try to do too. I just picture that she pulled it out because this creepy guy was coming at them. Again, you know, the guy that they'd already seen that they thought was creepy. Now, whether it was right there on the bridge, too, that he's coming right at him, and then she goes, "Oh, I'm going to pull it out."
Right.
You know, I don't know. But it's really sort of a really nitpicking point that's sort of meaningless, really. So.
Well, hey, what it's all about is us trying to work together to try to help find out what happened, so.
Yeah. I think what happened was
you and I love everything you do, by the way, and I listen to you all the time. So
even on the other cases,
everything you do.
Even on other cases, or is it all Delphi? Is that it? Even the other ones that I cover, or just the Delphi ones?
I listen to all of them. I listen to you. I listen to every single show ever since I've tuned in. So I was listening to another show, and I started listening to you, and I haven't stopped since. So you're one of my favorites, and
see
I
that
try to tune in live, but
and we don't have ill will.
Can't always.
Even though we were battling back and forth there, it's cool. Who cares, right? That's the way it should be. It shouldn't just be like, oh yes, I'm going to accept anything that anybody says, right? Like you didn't accept what I said, and I didn't. But what was weird about it is we kind of think the same thing. So it just differently the way you worded it.
Delphi's not my main case. I love everything you cover, and I actually love cases that are not well known, and I just am all about trying to solve and help people in the community, even where I live. You covered the one where I live, the woman in Dallas, who in the
Prisma Reyes
complex.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's close to where I live. So I really love that you covered that one. So yes, I really was happy when you did that because that's close to home. And I'm really worried about that woman, and that's such an interesting case with the garage and how she disappeared in that apartment building with a boyfriend and getting drunk at the restaurant right before and getting in the argument.
Mm-hmm.
And the gunshot, how she shot, or she had the gun.
Yeah, she said a gun.
Shoot it, but she had the gun at the
the pretty
traffic
weird story, huh?
issue. Yeah, very interesting.
It got a lot more interesting after interviewing all the different people and getting more info in those articles.
And I love that, how you went and you had the questions and you went and actually spoke and did the interviews with the detective and all that. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, awesome.
I want to thank you for that.
Glad you liked it. All right. Well,
you're amazing. I love you. I listen to you.
Oh, come on.
Like I said, I look forward to your show.
See, everybody, look at that. We were battling, and look at the niceness there. Well, thank you.
No, there's no battle. You're fantastic. You're an intelligent man. I don't always agree with everything you say,
Right.
but
Yeah, well, there you go.
I agree
See?
with most of it, and I love that you speak your mind, and I love how you are.
Well, thanks. All right. See, everybody?
And that's why I listen to you. I'm a fan.
All right.
So.
Well, thanks for calling in. And what was your name again? It was you said it. At the
My
beginning.
name is Rebecca West.
Rebecca. All right. Is that your name in the chat? Do you ever chat in there?
It's Rebecca. It's under Rebecca West. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for calling in. Call in again sometime.
I'm Becky Askins West on Facebook, so
okay.
I'm on your Facebook too.
Oh, cool. All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the nice words and calling in. I appreciate it.
Love you.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
That's nice. All right. Bye. That was cool. All right. Just a second. 256. You're on the air. Yeah.
Hey, Gray, it's Crystal.
Hello. Like AKA Beaver Gaming sub?
That's me.
Hey, you have a similar Sassmere type accent. You guys must live in the same... Alabama. There you go. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about your mother saying lollygagging.
Yeah.
My grandmother always says lollygagging, and I say lollygagging, and everybody always says, "What in the world does that mean?"
Yeah.
But has she ever said messing and gumming?
Messing and gumming?
Messing and gumming.
Gumming,
like
no.
Chewing gum, gumming?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. My grandmother always said lollygagging and messing and gumming. Messing and gumming is when you're throwing out.
She always says stuff like apoplectic. Or agita and apoplectic. Oh my God, his eyes had... He was so... Something he had... I don't know if she said agita, but she always said apoplectic. Like the person started wiggling around because they were so upset about something. I don't know, but... Yeah.
I love your mom. The things you
cool.
say about her, she's a good mom.
No, she's awesome.
I called in last night and hung up because I just lost my nerve. But the first caller that called,
that was you?
About no, that was me that hung up.
Oh,
yeah.
The
first caller that called about someone trying to steal their sister out of the window. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, she said it happened in '86 and somewhere in California, and that was in 1983 or '84. I was living in Pasadena, Texas, and trying to get my 3-year-old to start sleeping in her room by herself, and she just kept on crying and giving me one excuse after the other, and finally she was saying, "Someone's trying to crawl in my window," and I just was so exhausted. I just said, "Come on, come get in the bed. I'll try again tomorrow night." And the next day we went out to swing. And she said, "Look, Mom, I told you somebody was trying to crawl in my window." And the screen was cut.
Oh, man. What year was that?
And so, needless to say, I didn't worry about her sleeping by herself anymore. Isn't that freaky?
What year was that one?
That was 83, 84.
Yeah, I think the story was
And it was in
81,
Pasadena,
80.
Texas.
I think it was 81, 82. I think that's the one. Yeah, abduction attempt 81, 82. That's when that story. Wasn't that who told that? Wasn't that Sabrina that told that one?
Was it Valerie or?
Maybe Sabrina.
I don't know.
Maybe. Doesn't it feel like Sabrina told that one? Heck, I can't remember now. Does anybody remember? I thought that was Sabrina, but oh well. Can't remember now.
But I wanted to put that in because it seems like maybe there was a pattern there
Yeah.
during that time.
A serial. Well, this one wasn't it a baby in this case though?
That
The
was
one-
a baby
Yeah.
that she was telling about.
Yeah.
And the window was already open in hers. Ours was not open. The door, the windows was locked and the screen, on there. But I was still the next morning when she said, "Look, I told you." I was scared to death. I don't think I ever let her be in a room by herself after that.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to add that story.
Well, thanks. Yeah. At least you called in. I mean, you did the hang up. I think you were the one I probably said, "Hey, whoever that was, call back in." Right? That was you.
Yeah.
You probably were snickering the whole time.
One thing is, yeah.
Hey, but hold on a
One thing
second.
I was
go
at
ahead.
work, but
Yeah. Sorry about
I
that.
just
We
lost
have a
the nerve.
delay. We have a delay, so whenever I think you're done talking, I might say something, and it's just the way it is. But
okay. Well, I'll talk to you later, Gray.
well, thanks for calling in,
See you,
Crystal,
Gray.
aka. I actually have that memorized though. Crystal, aka Beaver Gaming sub Crystal, which you added in later on. Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
Bye-bye.
All right, see you. Bye. Hey, look at that. That's Ivy Rose. It seemed like you didn't have many nice things to say over there on the old Greeno channel today. I was checking that out. That was interesting. Let's see. I'm not missing much. Listen. Yeah. I don't know. It was weird over there. It was kind of strange watching. Here's what I think is weird. It's when you have these people that are in your chat and they're always nice and everything, and then you go over to a room that's bashing you, and then all these people that are normally cool in your chat are over there chiming in with their little examples of how they don't like you, and then they come back over here, and they're just so like everything's wonderful again. That's weird to me. A little strange, actually. Yeah. Somebody in the chat was making, just a lot of weird derogatory comments again. All right, now we got another call here. 910, you're on the air.
Hi, Gray. It's Bridget Harrison calling.
There it is. Yep, I saw you. I just had to get. I wanted to say what I was going to say. What's going on?
Well, I got a question for you. I came in a little late tonight, and I seen in the chat that someone mentioned Lumberton. And I was wondering, did you have a new update or anything on the Lumberton, North Carolina case?
Not recently. I've talked to the family member, Rhonda Jones's sister and mother.
Okay.
And one of these days we're going to interview, but in that case I've got it all dialed in, all the different things that were happening, the locations. There's even somebody else that's missing. One of their friends on that same street. What the hell's her name?
Yeah, 'cause I only live 2 hours away from there, and the news is like crickets over here, and no one's saying anything. So when I seen it in chat tonight, I thought, oh my goodness, did I miss something earlier? Did Gray have an update or anything? Because they're not saying anything over here on the East Coast of North Carolina.
Well, I think it's sad, but I think what it is you got 3 sort of people that did drugs and maybe did prostitution perhaps, and The police just aren't going to
Unfortunately.
focus in on that, you know. That's kind of how they do it.
Yes.
Which is sad.
Unfortunately, I do have to agree with you on that. Lumberton here is known as an area for high crime, not a place you want to be in at night. And I personally feel that it's sad that this case isn't getting more exposure, because there's definitely something going on. When you pulled up on, I'm looking on the YouTube right now, your maps, but when you pulled up the maps of Lumberton and you seen that street, it was happening it's so right in your face. There's somebody typically, I hate to use the word hunting, but they're hunting that area. It's all right in a line. And I forget what the street name it is. You would have to pull up that case in order for me to see what it is. But it was along one stretch of road.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a lot. There's a whole bunch of murders in that whole area, all over the place all the time.
But yes, I do agree with you. It's a high crime area, so what you're going to see there is, of course, a lot of drugs and probably prostitution. It's just a shame that these people don't get exposure as much as, say, the Skylar Richard case, which was just from in Ohio, that the verdict came in on that and was quite surprising to me. It's more like another Casey Anthony case. I don't know, did you touch on that one yet or not?
Which one again?
The Skylar Richard case in Ohio.
Oh, no, I didn't do that one. Yeah, the cheerleader. I'm just not really. Yeah, I just didn't. I have too many other cases I was following.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for taking my call tonight. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm glad that you at least brought some attention to the Lumberton case. You're the only one that has extensive coverage on it. Other people may have just talked, inserted news clips, but you have actually done your research, which is why I kept tuned to your channel, is because of your mapping capabilities. You put common sense and logic to it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Well, it's mapping, and then I use logic and the
that's
with the
what
facts.
I just said. Yeah,
yeah, that's the thing. So it's not,
it's
that's
not
the
just that. A lot of people could just read a map. I don't know about these days, but but a lot of times, people can see a map, but you got to put some logic behind it. As in the caller between what we were talking about last one, talk about Delphi. To me, I'm like, that's what you're doing. You got to put your mind in sort of the killer aspect, and of course, as the girl's aspect, don't think of what you're going to do. It's not a typical case. This isn't typical. You normally don't get a screenshot of a person that actually took the picture, and that's the victim. I guess, am I making sense there?
Yeah. It's
just think of this. Think of the guy. Put your mind in the perpetrator's aspect and put your mind in the victim's aspect. Don't think of what you're going to do, because what you're going to do is different from everyone else. You have to think about where they're at during that period of time.
That's right. Yeah. Well.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Gray. I won't take up much of your time, but I appreciate your time. Thank you.
No, thank you. I'll probably cover Lumberton again at some point. I was going to do it with Chasing Truth. She moved over there now. She's from Boston, but moved to North Carolina, so she was going to go do it.
Oh.
So there you go.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, well, wonderful. I'll keep tuning in tonight. Thanks so much.
Right,
have a great night.
Oh, you too. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, look at this. This is I just unhid everything, all the cases that I've covered. So again, everybody, if you're going to move somewhere and you want to be safe, you want to move right here. Okay? Just live right there, whatever that is. As a matter of fact, let me put the border label thing on there so we can identify it. Okay, you want to live in Nebraska, Kansas, South Dakota, North Dakota. Hell, North Dakota looks like you could walk down the street with no clothes on and nothing would happen to you. All right. Montana is not bad. Well, I think it's a lot of times it's about population, though, right? But look at that. Look how dense I have it over here. All the stuff we've done over the years. Look at that. It's crazy. And then I think this is the East Area rapist stuff I had all pinned out there. It's crazy. California. So, turn those all off. Yeah, that's a lot of pins. Well, there's nobody else on hold now. If anybody else wants to call in and give it a shot at whatever the hell you want to talk about, then call in. If not, that's cool too. Wait, who was it that just called in? Is she the one that called in a long time ago with that other case? Oh, Bridget. Didn't you call in like you lived in a house or something, or what the hell was that? No, there was that family. Were you the one that called in and you were trying to help out the family, but then they really didn't want help? Okay, yeah, that was it. Anything going on in that case? That was a weird one where she got basically. It seems like she got killed by her husband. I think that's how it went, but nothing's really been done about it. That's what it felt like, anyways. It seemed like it was another domestic issue. Yeah, I think Bridget was the last caller, so. Yeah, I think she called in like about a year ago or so. What's the name of that? What was the name of that case, by the way? I was all ready to help out and get the message out there, and she just didn't want anything to do with it. Is that why in Nebraska too much tilling with the rotors on the ground? You just can't find bodies. Is that right? Okay. Oh, you're back on again? Okay. I didn't need to. Okay. All right, you're back on. What's up?
Yes, it was me. The case was Vicky Properitz, and there is new developments in the case. But of course, you explained to everyone what happened about the case. The family got pretty heated with me. Thank goodness that I just kept my mouth shut. But yes, if you look that up now. There, you will see the new developments in the case.
And what was it, Vicky? What was the name again?
Propovitz. So it's P-R-O-P.
Uh-huh. Right. Hello? Yeah. Oh, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. P-R-O-P, and I think it's K. Oh, goodness. It's my husband's side of the family, so please forgive me, y'all. I cannot remember the spelling properly. But her first name is Vicky, V-I-C-K-I.
But you think it's P-R-O-V-I-C-K-I, you said? Okay.
Yeah, I know it. I know the last part is like I-T-Z.
Oh. What if I just deleted that whole folder that I had in Google Earth because I can't find it? Or it could have been during a time where...
Okay, it's P-R-O-K-O. That's where it was. P-R-O-K-O.
Oh, I got it. Victoria Lynn Prokopovitz. Yes. Okay, I do have that one.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to fly in right there.
Say a Prokovitz.
Okay. So let me type that in. So if I just type in her name, it'll come up with something?
Yep, that's the one. You got it pulled up right.
And what was the story behind that again that night? I actually forgot all about the technical part of it.
Yeah, the night is behind it is she went out. The common law husband was saying that he went to work, still wasn't home. When he come back, she still wasn't home. So sometime in the middle of the night, I guess she just walked out and vanished. The dogs brought in, and the dogs only hid from where the driveway is. They didn't go any further. And she left without shoes on her feet. Her cigarettes was left behind. She did not drive, so she did not take a car. And this is in Wisconsin in the winter, so it was very, very strange. She had no shoes on her feet.
So what's the what's the new theory? I mean, I see a Charlie Project post from May, but that's the only thing I see. Is that the only thing out there that's the development?
Well, the new investigation that they have is between the guy James Prokovitz, Kamala husband, and his current girlfriend are now in jail.
Yeah, I just saw that he was charged with murder. The husband. I knew it, see? God, even back then, it was really obvious.
Yeah, it took a long time. Like I said, she was upset because it was afraid that by me speaking about the case or saying anything about the case, that it would harm the investigation.
Well, I mean, that was pretty recently that we were talking about, so maybe she knew something was in the works and just wanted us to shut the hell up, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it. I mean, I actually get it more now because, I mean, they've actually that's crazy. So they've actually made an arrest in that. And his new girlfriend, he had a girlfriend on the side that she didn't know about or something, or what?
He claims it didn't happen till afterwards. So I can't really say anything except for what's in the news. So I don't really know.
Huh.
But from news sources, it was something that happened afterwards. So he said that he went to work the day. He never told his coworkers that his wife was missing. Nothing. Just acted no differently than usual. And then, of course, there's been numerous searches over the time. Nothing's ever come up. That part we still haven't found. She still has not been found. So, but there was a John Doe hearing, and it said that didn't know where her body was, but
it's interesting that they have enough evidence. What do you think they got for evidence that they would be able to? Like, they must have found a lot of stuff to have already charged him. There must be a paper trail, text messages, phone calls, things like that. Is there any warrant information that you could get for that? It's got to be out there. Like the arrest warrant? That'd be amazing to read.
Right. It would be, but honestly, after, I got spoken to about the case from the family, that I just kind of laid off of it, so I didn't really do any searching or anything, and I didn't really ask any more questions.
Yeah, I'm going to put this in the...
I tried to do everything I can. I was very heartbroken, because, who could... I just think a mother and a daughter. I just think how horrible. I didn't care whether it was family related or anything. I just cared, it's a daughter searching for her mother, and I thought anything to bring exposure is a good thing.
What was his name again? It was James?
Yes, correct. His is James. The girlfriend her name was Kathy Friday. She was charged with perjury and resisting and obstructing an officer in the case.
Yeah.
And then the judge set her bond at $25,000.
So if anybody in there can find James Prokovitz, whatever the hell, however you say it, that I just put into the chat there, if you can find the warrant that's in...
find the warrant, yeah.
What state is that in again?
Which is really weird. He's actually being held on a $2 million bail.
That's in North Carolina, though, right?
Where I'm at, correct.
Well, no, where this case is, where the warrant would be.
No, the case is in Wisconsin.
Okay, Wisconsin. Okay, so if you can find that somehow in Wisconsin, the warrant. I'm talking to my people in the chat. The warrant for the arrest in Wisconsin for James Prokovitz or Prokovitz or whatever the hell it is. Send it to me because I want to check that out because that's really interesting because it seemed like there was so little of anything.
Mm-hmm.
But $2 million, wow,
And then,
that's a lot.
yeah, that's what I was about to say too. It's a $2 million bond. I mean, that just isn't handed out, like that unless you have something.
Well, why didn't they give more
stronger.
to the doulos, fructose, right? Fructose doulos. He should have had easily got. His was only $500,000, and they've got him dead to rights. I mean, that warrant information on that guy. Jesus.
Well, I mean, in the confession when he talked to the police, he said, "When I told this is a quote from him saying when I told Sergeant, I think it's Aronstein, it's Aronstein, he said during the interview that I killed her, that was only due to my desperation, as I did not kill her. I did not dispose of my wife in the sludge pond." That's his current stand.
This guy, the one that we're
Sludge
talking
pond.
about, this Prokopowicz.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember there was a pond. I think I have that one. It was a quarry over here, not too far away.
Right,
yeah,
and they
a pond,
have done searches at the quarry. But nothing has come up, but they have done searches.
Yeah.
I think they drained it. I want to say not drained it completely, but they did drain it. I don't know how much or anything. It's just written from news reports that they did drain it, and I think they did it twice.
Right. Huh. Well, wow. That's a cool little surprise. I just recognized your voice, and then I remember, wait, I think you're the one that called in. And the name actually rang a bell, because it's been like, I think over a year, it seems like. And
Yes, it has. It's been watched. And then I'm also the one that lives in the house that was also where the murder happened here, about the pregnant Marine. And
that's what I started saying when you were still in the chat. I said, didn't you have a house that was kind of... And then I switched it because I remember that was something separate from the case that we were actually,
Correct. Yeah, that's totally separate. Now, this the house was, of course, national news. Vicky's case didn't go national. I wish it did. I personally think a lot of eyes could have helped solve this, but that's personal opinion. I have no, idea. All I know is he's in jail now, so let them handle it.
All right. Well, thanks for
so
calling back in.
update.
That's awesome. It's good news. Good for
All
her.
right. Yes, it is. It is good news. Especially a $2 million bill means he's not going to get out anytime soon.
Right. Exactly. All
And I
right.
think it actually said too that he doesn't rate a public defender. You know what? You need to go back on some of the case, because some of it he was also dealt with money. I think there was some not insurance or anything. There was some case about money. That's why he has a lot or something. Something about it, because it does say he does not rate a public defender, and I do remember him talking about calling his current girlfriend to transfer money out of the bank to help pay for her medical bills or something. But it's all news reported, so it's something that's easily searchable.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll look some more of that up.
All right.
But,
All right. Thanks so much. You have a
very
great
cool.
night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye. All right. Yeah, so what's the question, Sass Mayor? Oh, is it normal to just start crying with a... Yep, that's normal. Definitely normal there. Yeah, thanks, Bridget. Yeah, it was interesting because I can't believe that I could actually remember. It was her voice first, and then I remembered her name, and then I remembered that she had a story about her house where there was a murder. That's where she lives, I guess. And then I was like, hey, what's the update on that? And boom, there was one. Pretty cool. It's called Serendipity. All right, Serendipity. Yeah, so it says Victoria Lynn, we'll just call her P, Victoria Lynn P, has been missing from Pittsfield, Wisconsin for 6 years and counting. So look how long it takes sometimes. Her daughter, Marcia Loritz, was the one who started those missing persons event I go to every year. Marcia is a very sweet person, just lovely. She cries when she talks about her mother's disappearance. Well, it looks like answers may finally be coming, because yesterday Vicky's husband, James, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and perjury. James' girlfriend, Catherine Friday, her last name is Friday, his father's name is Joe. Yeah. Wish I had my rim shot available. When we started seeing just a month after Vicky vanished, probably was seeing her a little bit before that, was charged with perjury and obstructing an officer. This isn't really a surprise. James has been a suspect in his wife's disappearance for a while now. I don't know whether I should be happy or sad for Marcia. James has been her stepfather since she was a kid, and I'm sure she's hoping someone else was responsible for whatever happened to her mom. She always said she didn't know what happened and just wanted to find out and find her mother. I hope James confesses, pleads guilty, and discloses the location of Vicky's body. Yeah, because if he doesn't say anything, it's not going to be known. Oh, there you go.
New developments tonight. It's the case of a Brown County woman missing since 2013. Authorities have arrested her husband, who, now 6 years later, faces a homicide charge in the case.
The Brown County Sheriff's Office says James Prokopovich Sr. reported his wife, Victoria, missing in late April 2013. Now here's James today. Prosecutors said he and his girlfriend, Catherine Friday, who also appeared in court today, were caught lying in an investigation. Prosecutors said they believe the two were part of a conspiracy, lying about what happened until they were arrested. Authorities say James is responsible for Victoria's death. Her body remains missing.
Missing for more than 6 years.
It's mind-boggling because you cannot shut your brain off.
We've talked with Victoria's daughter, Marcia Loritz, throughout the years. Loritz never giving up hope. She would learn what happened to her mother when she disappeared from her Pittsfield home.
Isn't that the one we were talking to?
Purse, cell phone,
or you were
cigarettes.
talking to, Bridget?
Last seen on April 25th, 2013.
We have no answers. You know, we don't know how she left. We don't know where she is. We don't know if she's alive or if she's not.
We talked with Loritz just months ago. She told us her family had just her as a
No, it's probably not even going to happen that you're going to find her. You're still looking.
Years of offering rewards, years.
Well, it's excellent. $2 million bond. So that's good. Okay, so that was the one that shut us down. I mean, she was probably aware of a lot more stuff than we were. But I felt I didn't like the way she did it, though. She was really rude about it. So I guess that part. Oh, is this? You're not calling again, are you, Bridget? Hello?
What's going on, Gray?
Hey, this is 918. What's going on?
I was Bridget in my last life, I think, maybe.
I was like, wow, is she calling in again? It looked like a similar number. I don't know. But what's going on? Who's this?
Hey, brother, I was calling about the Marilyn Joy base case that you talked about, and you were waiting on the cold case unit to get back to you, and I was just wondering if you had any movement or anything on it. It's a pretty interesting little case.
Yeah, what's your name again now?
Johnny C.
Okay. Yeah, I actually do have. That's the one. That's the girl that was walking home from school and abducted, and then her body was found, right? With her hands at her side, her head tilted to hide the gunshot wound. That one, or is it a different one? No, I think that's the other one. No, that's the one in the apartment complex, right? With the right, that's the one in the car. She was doing laundry. Yeah, she was doing laundry. Sorry, that was a different one. Yes, that's the one where she was doing laundry, and yeah, I was in contact with one of her best friends, and I guess we're still communicating, trying to get people that would talk, but she said she can't find any. Well, here's what she said: I can't find anybody that will talk, and she goes, "Is it because of your YouTube channel? I mean, maybe." And I was like, "What do you mean? What does that got to do with anything?" Like they wouldn't have any clue what my channel was. You know, she's never even watched a video on it. I mean, at least you're going to get factual information on this one. So I don't even know what she meant by it. It's so old. Yeah, it's really old. Yeah, I think
it's a really old case. Another interesting thing is literally like 3 months before her abduction and murder, a block away from there, literally her apartment is the one that sits kind of cattywampus from all the other apartments closer to those duplexes, that neighborhood. Literally, not the duplex directly butting up to the apartments, the one right across the street. There was a murder during the day where a lady was babysitting somebody's kid, and the kid witnessed the whole murder. And the kid could ID the murderer, but she was so young that they wouldn't let her testify in court.
And do you think that maybe was the same person?
Not even a block away. 3 months prior to that, there was somebody brutally murdered in their house.
Wow.
And they don't know who the murderer is. It's like I said, the young lady that she was babysitting was sitting on the couch when the lady's husband came home from work, and it was a big mess and whatnot. And I just thought maybe that would be pretty interesting. Not a lot of that stuff goes on here that, within a block of each other. And there's another case that's previous to that where I couldn't find any information on it, where, it was the same thing at home. Somebody's broken into their home during the day and murdered the wife.
Yeah, we should send me... it's weird. That one sounds sort of vaguely familiar, that first one. Like it came up...
Right, yeah. I don't think you touched on the second one. And another cool thing about the case that's real close to it, her kids were at school. The lady that was murdered, her kids were at school during the day when that happened, and her son has became a police officer in a neighboring city.
Is that the other case though? That would
probably be pretty interesting.
The 3 months before. That
correct,
one?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Huh. That's kind of a neat little. He probably wants to go find who the killer of his mom was, or was it his mom? Who was killed in that?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
How old is she? Was she?
When it happened, I think she was in her 30s. Younger. It was a younger couple, maybe in her late 20s too. I'm not exactly sure. I don't have it sitting in front of me.
Yeah. The case I was randomly thinking of was that Amanda Goodman case when you first said it, because I covered them right around the same time. I think I have everything compartmentalized in like in my brain in like time periods or something. I don't know.
Just as long as I don't have to look at that Google Maps image, man. That's a lot of pins.
Yeah, I turned them all off just for you guys. What's really done?
But I was just checking on that, seeing if there's any help coming from the cold case, because it seems like it's a solvable case.
No, I left a message and they didn't.
If you look at like a lot of the, I'm sorry.
I left a message and they didn't call back or anything. I think a lot of these people just don't care enough. Like they just we'll get. They're working on something else, and because does anybody really think that right now they're really just pounding the pavement trying to figure out this murder? It seems like they would have had DNA. So that's what maybe I left the message about that. Like, hey, do you guys have DNA? You guys should send it into Parabon, or because she was raped, right, and her body was found.
Hey, greetings from Turkey.
We found where on that one road, on the side of the road, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. That's where her body was found. Cairo actually drove by there. He drove out.
Yeah, I don't know if they lost a DNA locker, and I don't know if I can't remember, but for some reason I remember reading that they lost a DNA locker or something to a refrigeration unit over the weekend or something. If I'm recalling right, where they lost a lot of DNA evidence from a lot of cases.
Oh man, what a nightmare!
So I'm not too sure if that's related to it. Yeah, there's quite a few cold cases here in this area as well. And with this case, it seems like it's so solvable because they do have a couple people in you read a lot of the public reports and newspapers and stuff, they do have a person of interest that they were looking into. And if you go back and look at all his information, he has family in the area of where they dumped that body, or where whoever killed or dumped that body. And to this day, he still has ties to that area, and he's actually even lived down there. So that's why I was just like, man.
Yeah, well, Cairo actually went out to the apartment complex and filmed like where the laundry room was, and just kind of like mapped out where she probably would have parked for the easiest walk to the laundry room. So we have all that stuff.
I just tell him if he goes to the dump site, be careful, because they just had flooding down there not too long ago, and those people are on edge to begin with.
You mean where her body was found?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's just kind of like a highway.
The area was flooded, and they will shoot you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I mean, they have literally everything they own in the front yard or going through it. You know, it's a disaster area.
Now, let's see if I can find that. Yeah, Maryland Joy Base, right?
Yep, that's her.
Yeah, let me see. So the body was found on, what's the name of this road here? Just a second. On Highway 10, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're saying it's flooded there, and
Should
people
be right
were
just north of Braggs, Oklahoma.
Yeah, and they're just going to shoot you?
I don't know if they catch you wandering around on their property. You know, if you're trespassing on private property right now, it's a serious offense. That's all I'm saying. You know, you know what I mean? There's signs posted up that you don't stop, and that whole area on the other side of that hill is populated with people that were flooded out. You know what I mean? Their whole house was underwater.
But that was such a safe place on my map. It's right in the middle of the country. I guess it wasn't that safe. Yeah. All right. I do have it. So it's south of Braggs. Do you think it was on the west side of Highway 10? That's what I kind of came up with.
I think it was, because as you're going up that hill, bro, because it's a small hill. They call it Braggs Mountain, but it's just a small hill. That west side of it, that there's a small area that is a cliffside, and that's about the only place that you could call a deep ravine or anything close to a ravine is on that west side there. And it's as you're going up the mountain too. So if you're looking at it on the map, you'll see where Highway 10 makes that sharp turn to the south, I believe. Go down like a mile or two, and that's where that ravine, that whole west side of that edge of that road is a ravine.
Okay, so you've got, let's see. So you know it pretty well, like if I described it to you. So you've got Braggs Mountain, right? And then just west of that, it's Highway 10. If you just go straight over, and then Highway 10 kind of winds a little bit, and then it kind of starts curving. Then it gets to a really long straightaway. Is it before the straightaway that you're talking about? You know,
correct.
Okay, so where? Yep. Okay, so there's a grid line. Well, who cares what the grid line is? There's an old Highway
10. Yep.
Old Highway. Yeah, it looks like 10. Yeah, old Highway 10, and it merges with Highway 10. How close is it to that?
It's pretty close to there. It's just barely north of there.
Oh. So I have the pin quite a bit, well, not way too farther, but let's put it up there. All right, so north of there, so it's still kind of on the curving spot. How far north?
There, I mean, it's a small little curve. I mean, there's not much of a curve, but
yeah,
literally, because that small little curve is probably where it's going back down the hill. If you're going north, you're going back down the hill there. Where you're at on Highway 10, that old Highway 10, it's real flat there, and you could, I mean...
Hey, you want to hear something? Don't ever say down the hill again on here, because just you saying down the hill, you're going to get these wackos. I guarantee it. Like one of these moron YouTubers will say, oh, did you hear that guy who called Gray's show talking about the other case? He said down the hill. And if you slow it down to this speed, it sounded just like the bridge guy. Okay? It's
Thank
coming,
goodness
man.
I've never been to Indiana.
That's what you say now, but watch, it's going to happen. Here they come. Yeah.
I have kids in Indiana and whatnot next
Oh God.
Be visiting my brother and all kinds of other crap that I don't even have.
Yeah. Just be careful. Don't ever repeat
Yeah,
what other people are trying to figure out who said it. Okay. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Right on, right on.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
if you go up to that hill, that there's a little memorial on the side of the road, but I didn't know if it was a.
Oh, really?
Because there's an older tree there that's bigger, and I didn't, it looked like maybe it could have been a vehicle. It could have been a drunk that hit a tree and died as well.
But there is a memorial. There is a memorial.
The weird thing about it is the weird thing is that the cross that's there is made out of metal. So there's no, it's not like it's wood and it's rotted or anything like that. It's literally a piece of metal that somebody cut and stuck into the ground.
And how close is that rod? How close is that to the road?
It's literally on the road, and it's such a weird spot that to pull over and get access to it is, it's dangerous.
Now, what did you say it looked like? Was it? It's just a rod in the ground.
A cross, a metal cross.
Okay, but it does have a. How big is it? The cross.
Probably 2 or 3 foot tall.
And it has a legitimate cross on it, like a. But I'm looking at Street View from
permanently.
2008.
It's there permanently.
How long has it been there?
I have no idea. I'd say at least 5 years. I don't know.
Oh shoot!
They've added stuff to it over the. You know what I mean? They've added little stuff over the years to it.
But it's kind of near the road, though, the actual highway.
Oh, it's right off the road, and literally on the other side of the little memorial is a deep drop off.
Okay, so but that's on. You're heading south, so it's going to be on the right-hand side of the road, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we did figure that part out. Okay, well, I'm driving along on Google Earth, but the image is from 2008.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? They may have repaved it, but I doubt the road's changed at all because what's around there is a military base. So a lot of that access isn't available to the general public unless it's hunting season. That's the only time they open it up. To drive a vehicle into any of that land. That's. But
right the sign would be right. But the cross is just right off of Highway 10, right? So we should be able to see that.
It's literally on. Yeah, it's literally 2 foot from the road.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm hoping to run by it. Here's where Craftset's going to jump in. He hasn't been here for like 6 months, but he'll say, "Oh, look, there it is." Yeah. Which I wouldn't mind, actually. I actually.
There's not much on Highway 10.
Yeah. Huh. Well, now I'm almost onto the straightaway and I haven't seen it yet. I guess I can go back and look.
Yeah, my guess would be it's probably just a car crash or something like that would be my guess. I didn't think it would be still there with, no, I've never heard of the case. I'm from the area and I've never heard of the case at all.
But you've driven by it and seen it?
Not like.
Oh, you think maybe it was.
Oh yeah, I've driven by there.
But you think the cross was from her case or was just something else? Maybe not related.
I don't. It's probably 50-50, man.
Yeah.
It could be a vehicle wreck because it's a bad spot. So if you drove off the road there, you're probably gonna die. You know what I mean? It's pretty isolated area. No one's gonna find you right off the bat, and it's off of a deep ravine. It'd take hours for anybody to even notice you.
Yeah, it's weird. I can't find a deep ravine while everything looks like there's 20 feet of shoulder where I'm driving, where I'm on Google Earth here. Like I just don't see a deep ravine right off of the road, I guess.
Yeah, I'm on my phone, so I'm not looking at it on there, but I can get you an image of Google Maps, man, and put a star on it and email it over to you with the information that I have.
Yeah.
If you're I didn't know if the cold case was going to help you, if they're just going to stonewall you or what.
That's still in my, I think about it, I think the last time I talked to her was like a week ago, the friend, but, might be something if I can get her on and some other people. That'd be cool.
'Cause I can get you that info. I can get you that info on that other case.
Yeah, do that.
I have the contact info of the police officer that's the son of the lady now. That'd probably be an interesting talk too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Going into the
why don't you do that?
The police force.
Like, send me a map
Right on,
in your
brother.
email, and then also give me that other information too. You have my email it's in the description of every video.
It's always been in the description, brother.
Great.
Every video.
grayhughes2@gmail.com. Right?
Right on, brother. Appreciate
All right.
all your hard work on all these cases and stuff, man. You're very, very, very much appreciated.
Well,
Have
thanks
a
a lot.
beautiful evening, brother.
You too. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Later.
All right, bye. Yeah, very cool. Another cool call. Where is Kraft's at? Did he show up? Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. It seems like we ran across that other murder while looking into this. Maybe I didn't talk about it, though. The other one. But it sounded really familiar. That does sound like something that might be pretty likely. 3 block, what was it? Just a couple blocks away, very in the same time frame. I already did ask what side of the road was the whole time, like 4 times. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for me tonight, everybody. Thank you guys for showing up. What? I don't know. Is this another caller, or is this a 928?
It's Sassmere.
Oh wow! I thought you were the same. Okay, weird. How's it going, Sassmere? Or I mean, Sassmere.
I was going to get. Do you want to end it on a lighter note?
Yes.
You like to end it on a lighter note?
Yes. Can you say it louder, Gray? Yep.
Okay, I'll give you a recipe.
Oh boy, here we go. What is it?
No, for a cobbler.
Oh, a cobbler. All right.
Okay, all you need is 4 ingredients. 1 cup sugar, 1 cup self-rising flour.
Wait, say that again, because I don't think people knew what you said.
1 cup sugar. 1 cup self-rising flour.
What is self-fry? What is that? Self-rise?
Self-rising flour.
Never heard of it. I guess I just don't know. Okay, how about this? Start over again. I won't even interrupt you. You just say the whole thing. Okay. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
1 cup sugar.
Okay.
1 cup sugar. 1 cup self-rising flour.
Oh, self-rising. Okay.
Right.
It was so easy to hear that time. It sounded like you were saying like self-fries or something. Like you were. I don't. Okay, jeez. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. 1 cup sugar. 1 cup self-rising flour. 1 cup milk.
Yeah.
Now listen, it's very good.
No, it sounds great. They're trying to remember it. So listen, start over again. I'm going to turn off my mic and I'm going to go use the restroom and you tell it. Okay, here we go. 3, 2,
Okay.
1.
1 cup sugar. 1 cup self-rising flour. 1 cup milk. And it's got to be real milk. Not the 2%. It's got to be real milk. Okay, mix it all together. Put it in the pan. And then you get your whatever kind of fruit you like. Any kind of fruit you like, get a can of that. And put it right in the middle. And just stick it in the oven at 350 for about an hour, and you got a cobbler. Did everybody get that? No egg. The self-rising flour takes care of that. 1 cup sugar, 1 cup self-rising flour, 1 cup milk, stir it up, put your fruit in the middle, and you got yourself a cobbler. And it's a very good dessert.
Did you hear that, everybody? You got yourself a cobbler. Hey, Sassmere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it tastes pretty good.
Right, baby.
I was still listening while I was in the bathroom, but I was still listening.
That's one of my mom's biggest recipes. And it's very easy and it's very country.
I think we should all try to make it in honor of Sassmere. You know, everybody should go get that.
I guarantee you they're gonna love it.
Well, I wouldn't doubt that.
Because what you're making is the cake mix.
Oh yeah.
With the flour, the sugar, and the milk, you're making a cake mix.
See, what my problem is when I get this stuff, like I get like every time, like when Chris makes like a cake or something, I just want to have like a piece of it and then take the rest to work, because I'll literally eat the whole freaking thing in a day. Because I just like chocolate and cakes and cobbler. Like I can just sit there and just keep eating it. It's like a sieve.
Do you drink coffee in the morning?
No. I drink this stuff that's like cappuccino sort of mix thing that you spin around and.
Well, that's the same thing. That's coffee. Yeah. You know, just go ahead and have you a piece of your coffee in the morning.
But that's a problem. I would have to have 8 cups of coffee and 8 pieces of cobbler. See, it doesn't work like that. Like, you get that, right? Like it's just you just start eating it, and it's like, how do you? Then you go, well, okay, well then I'm going to have another piece, and then you have another piece, and then another piece. Yeah. Now what's one more, huh? I'll work out tomorrow.
I guarantee you, Gray, if you eat one piece of it, you're going to be like, oh my God. This is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Well, I might make it so I can have a piece, but then I'll have to have it sent to, out of the house. Let's put it that way.
Like I said, 1 cup sugar, 1 cup self-rising flour, 1 cup milk, stir it up, put your fruit in the middle, and stick it in the oven. Bake it for like an hour at 350. When it turns brown, get it out of the oven.
That's all you do?
Yeah. Like I said, this is my mom's recipe when she was growing up. They didn't have a lot.
That's almost something I could do, you know? Wow.
Yeah.
Just throw it in the bowl, throw it in the oven, boom! Call it a day, right? Just
exactly.
Wow.
And you got dessert for a week.
That's where the problem lies, right there. Okay. Dessert. Well, the problem is it's not dessert for a week. It's dessert for a day, because it would just be gobbled up.
You won't eat it in a day.
Yeah.
Nah.
Trust me.
Nah. My little brother ain't going to just eat it in a day because I done adopted you.
Oh, yeah? All right.
Yeah. You're my little brother now because you're a little bit younger than me.
Okay. Well, cool. My older sister, Sassmere.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought y'all would like an easy peasy recipe that can feed a whole house full.
Awesome.
And they got dessert right there.
That's right. Well, I think I'm gonna be done with the show now. I'm tired. I was only gonna do a short show talking about Walter R. Hibbert, but then it just kind of morphed into some phone calls.
I just wanted to just lighten it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I thought the recipe would be an easy way to do that.
Well,
and y'all could enjoy it. Don't take much to make it, and Heck, it's right out of Kentucky mountains.
But I saw your comment earlier. Yes, when a family member passes away, you'll have moments where you just start crying, and then there's moments where you're fine, and there's moments where you're kind of just, some
Can I
weird
say
thinking.
something on that?
And then you'll just learn to live with it, and you'll be, that's just, you'll never get over stuff like that, but you just learn to live with it. So.
Can I say something on that?
Yes, you can, older sister.
Well, see, she lost 4 grandchildren in a fire. Okay. Then she lost, let's see, 1, 2, 4 more because my niece got into drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And the only one that she was wanting to see have a baby was my son. And he just now got back from Germany, and he was waiting until he got married in the Catholic Church. He was already married, legally.
Mm.
And now he's going to get married here at the end of the month, and they're going to have a baby. And she'll never see that one.
Yeah, it sucks.
So all of her grandchildren are gone before she died. And now he's going to have one as soon as he can.
Well.
So I realized that today. I was like, oh my God. The one she's waiting on isn't here yet. But she thought there was nothing else like my son, because Harley has always worked his butt off to get everywhere he's got. He didn't have stuff handed to him. He's worked his butt off. And she's like, I'm so proud of him. And now, when he's getting ready to start a family, she ain't going to be there.
Yeah.
So, it just smacked me right between the eyes today. I was like,
right. There's always stuff like that. That's one of the things that's part of the whole, when you're grieving, you keep thinking, oh, wow. Like you might be going to do something that, you start thinking about holidays and stuff, like, wow, every Christmas or at Thanksgiving we were always together, and then you kind of dread going that first year because you're kind of thinking like, man, what's it going to be like without them there? Especially people, when you have a family member that's kind of like the life of the party types. They're sort of the glue. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that makes it a little bit harder when they're those types. The ones that are the glue for everybody. The guy that was always in the middle, that created the banter with everybody, that kind of stuff.
My mom was one of those people that could just find humor. She was. I mean, I can sit here and think about my mom, and I'm like, oh my God, it's no wonder I am the way I am. It's no wonder Harley's like he is. Because he grew up with her, and she was my only parent. And I was like, it's no wonder I can go with a sense of humor. But there's times in it, just like I said, I fall apart.
Yeah. Well, everybody here is pulling for you. So.
My mom would kick my ass for crying.
Well, then don't do it, dang it. No, cry whenever the hell you want to cry. Don't worry about it. Look, just cry whenever you want to cry. And if everybody says, hey, you need to get over it, punch them in the face and keep grieving. Okay? The people out there that if you've ever told somebody who's grieving over a family member, if you ever said to him, hey, it's time to move on, get over it, you're a loser, okay? Okay, you're an idiot. So the thing is everybody just grieves at their own pace. You move forward when you feel like it.
I'm just, Gray, the thing is with me, I'm one of those people that it has to, like, punch me right in the face.
Yeah, well...
You know, I'm one of those that it's like work, think, do, and then all of a sudden you got this moment that smacks you right in the face. And it's like, wake up, mom's gone.
Yeah.
You know.
There you go.
And I'm like, holy shit. You know, could it not wait for a few hours? At least let me be home and fall apart. But I was at work all weekend, and this freaking snake is in the office, and I'm like, you know, they're like, it's a sand snake. It's not venomous. I'm like, yeah. I'm not looking to see if it's venomous. It's a freaking snake.
Sassmere. My mom was the same. Okay. Well, I'm about to pass out, Sassmere, so I gotta do the flyby.
Well, hon, you have a good night.
You too.
And
Thanks
all
for calling
you
in.
guys in the chat, have a good night. And everybody, please smash that like button.
Yes, hit that like button.
And don't take a thing, but just smash it.
Just hit it once, though, okay? All right.
Yeah, just once. Not twice.
All right. Well, everybody's pulling for you to, start feeling better. You never get over it, but you'll be able to live with it and, be back to normal again. It's just to be something that'll always be a tragic event in your life. So,
well,
all right.
It's not. To me, it's not tragic.
Well, it's just, yeah, well, maybe not tragic, but it's just something that's going to be sad to you. All right, so I get it. We get it. You won't need to parse out the wording of what I just said. All right. All right. Have a great. Love you too, Sassmere. My older sister. All right. Have a good one. See you later.
Everybody take care in the chat.
Yeah. Be safe out there. All right. See you later.
Exactly.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that was Sassmere. All right. But we're going to Chicago, huh? Jesus. I don't think so. I want to go somewhere just, lots of rocks again. We always default back to Utah. Hold on. Here's Yosemite. I guess we're going to fly to I Love It Here. Oh, you're just saying you love it here. No, we're really mean people over here. Apparently that's what you hear on other channels. If you don't let people put out conspiracy stuff, you're mean. He doesn't let them say what they want. Oh well. Okay. So, whoa, what's going on there? Wow. Something went wrong. Reload. Oh, there he goes. All right, so thanks to Goldie Khan, Lanky Tor, Sabrina Rodriguez, and MyLogify or MyLogify or however you say it on the super chats. Then on PayPal. Let's see. We've got Cairo Al-Qadir. Thank you. So I think that was right. I don't know if that was from yesterday or today. It looks like today. And then that today too? That's kind of confusing. But it was weird. I was just hanging out today and somebody sent a PayPal donation while I was just sitting around working. It just sort of showed up on the screen. Oh, and then thanks, Miss Jules. Thank you. And then what were the suggestions up here? What's the Eye of Africa? Yeah, Crater Lake's pretty cool. We should do that one again.
One more.
I think we've
before
done.
You're done. Blue heart, purple heart.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the map's good. Let me go to Crater Lake. You know what's funny about Google Earth? I mean, how lame is this by Google Earth? You know how you have all the pins on the screen? And then when you go to the moon view, it puts all the pins on the moon in the relative position. I mean, isn't that just ludicrous? Like, there's no crimes on the moon. I mean, maybe there is, maybe a couple alien attacks or whatever. But they put the same pins on the moon in the same spot. I'm so mean. Thanks, Lanky Tor. All right, here we go.
We're zooming angry face with horns.
You're so mean. Face with angry horns. Good night, Wally Gator. One more loop. Woods girl fell asleep. They really did a great job mapping this Crater Lake out. Very detailed all around. Look at that. Wow, Crater Lake, huh? Doesn't look too bad. Another interesting, fun night tonight. Wasn't as structured as normal, I guess, but I guess a lot of our shows end up like this, where we, you know, callers call in, we diverge around on different topics, but there's so many of you guys know about so many different cases that, hell, why not, huh? Sometimes it takes me a second to remember exactly which one, since sometimes we cover 4 cases in a night, and we basically do a show almost every single day of the week, probably 6 or 7 days. So anyway. Yes, there I am, everybody. Thank you guys all for showing up tonight, and just supporting the channel in general. All right, so that's it for the show tonight, and as I always say, until next time, everybody, be safe out there.